Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man's live coverage of the Michigan Wolverines against the Georgia Bulldogs, Grumpy Old Man.
Very
Today,
true.
college football playoff semifinals matchup. Hopefully, is going to be better than what we just watched. Both Cincinnati Bearcats and the Alabama Crimson Tide facing off. Man, you want to talk about a runaway game.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Alabama could have scored as many points as they wanted, honestly. I think they just played it real conservative, just running the ball over, I think, close to 300 yards on the ground. Like I said, if you can't stop the run, you're not beating anyone.
No, and we've talked about it before, and I'll say it again, Grump. Cincinnati, I don't care if they went 13-0, 14-0, 15-0. There's no way a team like Cincinnati can compare and compete with teams like Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Baylor, Notre Dame. I know they beat Notre Dame earlier on in the season, but on a big stage like that, there's no way they compete.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in Oklahoma, Oregon, anybody. You play in a piddly pup conference, you're going to get what you get.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it was unfortunate, and I think it answers the question that you always hear asked. Oh, hey, why is UCF? Why are they not getting a chance to compete for a national championship? Why is XYZ school not getting a chance to compete for a national championship? Unless you're at the tippity top, not going to get a chance, and in all likelihood, you don't deserve it.
Right. That's the whole thing. They don't deserve that shot. It's just that plain and simple. Those lesser schools, all right, lesser schools. If you put Cincinnati in the SEC or the Big Ten, they're going to lose 4 games. They're just not that good. They've no offense, none.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But before we get too much into today's coverage, Grump, I want to introduce this podcast for those of you who are going to be new watching today. This podcast is twice a week on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a few watch-alongs with big games, just like today's and this evening's game. Man, I'm hoping we get a down-to-the-wire, maybe a little overtime action in this Michigan-Georgia Bulldogs game, Grump.
Well, yeah, so we want to make sure that people subscribe to the page.
Yes, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter, Grump. You look at Grumpy, what's going on? Your hair's looking a little disheveled.
I didn't put any product in there today. I said, I even said to the warden, I'm like, Warden, how does my hair look? And she said, looks good, looks fine. So obviously that was a lie.
That was a lie, Grumpy. That was a lie. Maybe it's looking rough as hell, man.
Maybe I look like AJ Malesko. That's what I think I look like.
Oh, good gracious, good gracious.
I can always wear a hat at some point in time.
Yeah, for certain. Want to go ahead and introduce this to you, Grump. We had talked a little bit about the keys to the game. Now, if you're Georgia, what are the ways that you're going to go ahead and overtake and outlast and beat Michigan today?
I think the game plan for both teams is the same. Establish the run. I think it's going to be easier for Georgia to do that. I don't think that the defensive front for Michigan, while they're really good rushing the passer, is as good defending the run as Georgia's is. That's going to be a mighty tall task. If Michigan's able to run the ball on Georgia, I think Michigan will win this game. I think that they will get pressure on Michigan will get pressure on the Bennett kid at quarterback, and he's nowhere near as effective when he has pressure on him. So the key to both teams is going to be running the ball. That's key. This is like a throwback game for me.
Yes. And here's the thing. The team that does run the ball the best is going to win. I think it's going to be Georgia who has the most success with the ball, at least the running game. Think about it. Their front seven is loaded for the Georgia Bulldogs, Grump. And again, you may argue, I don't think Georgia's a complete team. I don't think the quarterback's there. I'm not a big believer in Bennett. I just don't think he has what it takes. But you look at the front seven they have on the defensive line and linebacker core, right? Jordan Davis, fantastic D tackle. He's a guy who can really go ahead and plug, and he's going to create mayhem. You got to make sure that those Michigan Wolverine offensive linemen are ready to handle that tall task. You've got Nolan Smith back there at linebacker. You've got a lot of those run stoppers that are geared towards that on that Georgia defensive line, as well as linebacking core. It's going to be tough to establish the run game. That being said, if they're able to get a little bit of push, who knows? But I think you're right, though, right? The defensive line for Michigan is more geared towards pass rush. When you look at Hutchinson, you look at individuals as well, Hinton. You look at guys on the defensive line there for Michigan. They're going to get a lot more pass rush pressure. Is kind of what they're geared towards. Not as great on the run stop, more kind of pass rush specialist. I'm not saying there are any slacks against the run. That being said, they're more geared towards pass.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, stuffing the Davis kid in the middle. That's you have to if you can get any movement on him. Good news for Michigan, right? Let's be honest. But I just think it's going to be a struggle for them. I know that the running back is dinged up a little bit.
Now, who, Grumpy? You gotta let me know for what team?
For Michigan.
You're talking about Hassan Haskins.
Yeah. Isn't he dinged up a little bit going into this game?
Couldn't remember. I don't think he's dinged up. He's had ample time to recover. I know they were talking about a few players before game that had like a sickness, but they were still good to go.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Aiden Hutchinson is a big piece of the Michigan defense at that rush end. Don't know how important that game is going to be. Like I said, the key is stopping Georgia's run, and that means that Hutchinson can do his thing. That's the whole key to the game is stopping for Michigan, stopping Georgia's run, and for Georgia stopping Michigan's run.
You are going to see, I think, a low-scoring game. I don't think you're going to see a whole bunch of explosive plays. And think about the disparity in talent and the disparity we saw on the field just earlier between Cincinnati and Alabama. That game was still relatively close. I'm using air quotations on the scoreboard. I think, they were beat a lot worse than what the scoreboard indicated. And I think this is a game where you're not going to see a whole bunch of explosive plays left and right, guys throwing for 300 plus yards. This is a game, I think you're right. It's going to be a grinded out. They're going to see a lot of TV timeouts to try to slow the game down. I just have that feeling.
Yeah, like I said, this is a throwback game. It really is. I just don't know if Michigan's team speed is enough, offensive team speed is enough to keep up with the lateral pursuit that Georgia has. Georgia's a really good defensive team. They got exposed a little bit against Alabama, but they've been really good defensively all year.
Now, let me ask you this. For those out there that are saying, well, Georgia plays in the SEC East, they haven't played all that many tough teams, right? Michigan, they're battle tested, albeit they lost to Michigan State. They're battle tested, though, Grump. What do you have to say to those individuals that are saying, right, Georgia really hasn't seen a tough opponent this year until Alabama, and they believe that Michigan's a tough opponent, so they might have the edge in that aspect?
Well, okay. I'm just saying the whole year before the Alabama game, and regardless of who you played, first of all, they weren't playing Cincinnati's schedule. They played much more difficult teams. They play in the SEC. And if you come through undefeated in the SEC, you're doing the job. They average giving up less than 7 points a game and 230 total yards. I mean, Alabama was a totally different game. I just think the fact that Georgia doesn't think they can beat Alabama. I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest.
No steps. Okay, so you think that's the reason they lost to Alabama? It's the only reason they lost to Alabama?
I think that's a big part of it. Mentally, they don't think they can beat Alabama. Kirby Smart's never beaten Alabama. Had numerous times had leads, always wound up losing. When that's your mindset, oh, here we go again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they played everyone else in their lineup really, really tough.
Okay, I will. Let's just play devil's advocate, right? You look at Georgia, the quality wins they have this season. First game of the year. I know it was closer than probably they would have liked. They played Clemson close. It was 10-3 in that neutral site game. I think both teams were kind of feeling themselves out, but I thought Georgia was the superior team. And again, that's one of those games to where the score was not indicative of what we saw on the field. Georgia, I think, dominated Clemson in all aspects of that game. Then you look at the next time they play a ranked team, Arkansas, which they obliterated. Arkansas was one of those teams that had ups and downs this year, but took a step forward there with Pittman as head coach. Kentucky, again, a top 25 team. But other than that, Grump, you don't face any other top 25 teams besides Georgia, right? You've got 3 top 25 teams you played this year. Clemson the first week of the season, the neutral site game. Number 22 Arkansas you beat. Number 25 Kentucky you beat. I'm just saying I can maybe see how people are saying, okay, the schedule that they played in the SEC East might have led to a little bit of those stats being deceptive. You know, you talk about how great the defense is. They played against Florida. Florida's miserable this year. Tennessee, you know, kind of up and down. Georgia Tech is miserable. You look at Charleston Southern, they're not great. They have a lot of those, you know, UAB, South Carolina. You look at a lot of those games and you think to yourself, okay, they played against some, they really took care of the lesser teams and the cellar dwellers. How do they match up against some of the top tier talent?
Okay, there's only one team in the SEC that did not make a bowl game, and that's Vanderbilt.
The
So
SEC
you could
teams in general as a whole have been getting waxed in the bowl games. They have. What are they, 2-5? The top tier teams in the SEC are the best teams in the nation. There's no doubt about that. All the middle of the pack and all the lower of the pack were not as good as people originally anticipated. What are they, 2-5? Again, they have a few games tomorrow.
Okay, you got to remember though,
misplays and items like that. I'm just saying, I think they're 2-5 as of this point right now in bowl games so far.
but their lower level teams in their conference, like the number 10 and 11 team in their conference, is playing like a top, like maybe the number 3 team in another conference. So, you know, that you got to look at it that way also. Like I said, if all these teams are good enough to make bowl games, they're pretty good teams. I'm just not a big believer. I'm not really
6-6, dude. And if you play Charleston Southern and UAB every year, that's 2 free wins, not including what other out of conference game you have, right? There's 3. There's the SEC's got at least 3 out of conference games every single year.
Okay, Auburn was 6-6, right? Just squeaked into making the playoffs, and they played Houston, who was a top 20 team within 7 points. The team that was second in Cincinnati's conference. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. I think that conference is miserable. The American Conference is shit, Grump.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You still had 11 teams make bowls. That's a lot of teams making bowl games.
Yeah. Well, okay. Fair enough. I'm just saying they haven't been playing fantastic as of yet.
Yeah, but they're playing. You'll have the number 11 team is playing the number 2 team in the conference.
You got to move your mic down.
There's a disparity there.
Move your mic down a tad bit there. It's catching up a little bit on the P's. That's fine. Thank you, Grump. Okay, Grumpy, I'm just saying I could see the argument. That's all I'm saying.
I don't see the argument. That sounds like an argument that you're making up.
Okay, when you look at Michigan, right, you look at the top tier teams. They beat Ohio State, given it was at home. They beat the brakes off of Iowa. Both those teams are top 25 teams. They lost to Michigan in a 4-point game.
Michigan State.
Michigan State, I'm sorry. Michigan lost to Michigan State in a 4-point game. I'm just saying, you look at, those high tier wins they have. I beat a top 10 team in Ohio State. Maybe you don't think Ohio State's that great. They beat the brakes off of Iowa. They're 17th in the nation. I'm just saying, maybe you don't respect the Big Ten very much, and that's fine. I'm just saying, I was not bought in on the Michigan hype, and I think that they're at a disadvantage this game when you talk about scheme-wise and I talk about talent-wise. But when you look at the wins they've had against tough teams in the Big Ten, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that they've been against some really top competition this year.
Yeah. Okay. I just think you're poo-pooing Georgia and who they played.
I think the SEC East is. I think the SEC East is woeful compared to the SEC West. I think the SEC West is much better. If Georgia played in the SEC West, I think they have 2 or 3 losses this year.
I don't. Their defense travels. All right. They were the dominant team all year. They lost to Alabama, who they always lose to.
Okay, if they were playing the SEC West, they'd play Alabama every single year. So that'd be an extra loss every single year.
Well,
they have to play your old misses. You have to play your old misses too. I mean, I'm just saying.
Ole Miss isn't that good.
They're 8th in the nation.
Okay, Alabama was just squeaking by every week. Alabama didn't look great all year. The best game they played all year was the game against Georgia. I just don't think that Georgia thinks they can beat Alabama. I think that's the biggest flaw.
I have 1 minute and 50 seconds until kickoff, Grump. Where are you at the moment?
You let me know when it gets to 120. How about that?
I'll let you know when it gets to 120, Grump.
That works for me.
So who are you picking in this evening's game?
I'm rooting for Michigan, but I think Georgia's going to win. I just think their defensive front is too strong for Michigan's offensive line. There you go. There's my pick.
Just to disagree, I'm going to go with Michigan. Just to disagree with
That's
you.
fine. I'm rooting for Michigan.
I'm at 120. Yeah, and here's the reason. I think the keys of the game for Michigan, it is going to be a tough uphill battle. I think the Cards, you look at the actual players, and the defensive line is fantastic for Georgia. But I'll be honest, I think to myself, are some of those numbers inflated? And their performance inflated because of the competition they've played in the SEC East.
So in other words, it's not other people, it's you thinking that now, just like I said before.
No, that was additional. I'm just opining on it, Grump.
And let's just make sure that we let everyone know you've been anti-SEC for years. You think that they're not the best conference. You think it's the ACC.
No, the best conference is the SEC this year, no doubt about it.
Every year, every single year. I'll tell you what. You look at the Davis kid; he's an NFL player.
He's big. He's big as a bastard. That guy is big.
I was a little bit disappointed how gassed he was in the SEC championship game against Alabama. I didn't expect that, and I expected him to be more dominant than he was. But Alabama came out to play that game. I mean, they didn't play as well today as they did against Georgia. They played today like they did most of the year. Did enough to win.
What is up, by the way, Tony Cheese? Hello, good sir. Yeah, I think that they did not have a good game. I think that Bryce Young, and let me give credit to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense did a good job at time. All right, they gave up plenty of rushing yards. I think their secondary did a good job. And on passing downs, they got pressure in the face of Bryce Young. And I thought Bryce Young at moments looked pedestrian at best.
Yeah, I was not impressed with Bryce Young.
When he has time in the pocket, he's fantastic. When he gets pressure in his face, like every other quarterback, he struggles mightily.
That's right. That's like every other quarterback who's ever played the position. Like that's the famous Tom Brady thing. Oh, you want to stop Tom Brady? You got to get pressure in his face. Yeah, tell me one quarterback that's not true of.
We've got the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia takes it out. They get to about the 19-yard line. They're going to be starting off with the football today. The Michigan Wolverines defense is going to want to go ahead and try to set the tone. You've got Stetson Bennett coming out here leading the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm not even knowing the formation. I think they probably start this game off with a run.
Now, if I'm Georgia, I come out throwing the ball. I'm a big believer in mixing things up in bowl games. A big believer in that. They're not looking for anything. The other team is not looking for you to change your style at all. That's what I would do. I'd come out throwing the ball to start. The Bennett kid is small. I didn't realize he was only 5'11", 100.
He's. I'm telling you, I don't think he's that special. Okay, they're going to start off here with a run and a power. He finds the inside lane, hits a cutback, and he gains up about 7 or 8 yards on the carry.
9 yards. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Okay. Zamir White gashes him for a gain of 8, grumpy old man. Good first play here. Getting movement. He's able to find that cutback, and he's able to pick up a good chunk of yards. Yeah, Brock Bowers, grumpy. He's a true freshman, by the way. They're the tight end for Georgia. I'm sorry, 2nd and 1.
Don't ever question me on that. Remember, that's what I used to do. And there's your first pass.
Here's another. It's a play action power, and then there it is. Right, they pick up enough for the first down, and it looks like Georgia is moving the ball downfield. 2 plays so far, about 20 yards downfield.
When you can run the ball, it opens up for the pass.
Okay, well, hold on. We're only 2 plays in.
I understand, but I'm just you know that's true, right? If you're able to run the ball, it opens everything up.
Yes, no, for certain it does.
Because it gives you all dimensions to your offense. When it's, you're one-dimensional, you're much easier to defend.
Yeah. Well, this is, you talk about first drives and setting the tone of the game. I mean, this is obviously extremely important. Send Bowers here in motion.
There's a hold. There was a hold wide open. There was a hold on the right tackle, no call. He wraps his arms right around the end. They got to make that call.
Yeah, you're still ahead of me there, Grump. That being said, holding happens on every single play. I thought you were about to say on the running back.
The running back, that's who it was.
Okay, but
the biggest concern.
Okay, let's talk about that. That's a hell of a catch right there. That is a hell of a catch. Grump.
Yeah, he's wide open though. He's wide open.
That's what I said. That's the true freshman Brock Bowers. That's a hell of a catch by the tight end Bowers on that situation. It wasn't a great pass, but he did a great job of contorting his body and catching it. That's a booger play right there where the entire offensive line cuts. And again, it goes out here towards the edge to Bowers. They've got a tight end screen. You don't see a lot of those, a tight end bubble screen. for the Georgia Bulldogs, picking up about another 5. They've already dinked and dunked their way down into the Michigan red zone.
I'm not saying what they're doing is dinking and dunking. It was like a 25-yard pass, a 15-yard completion. That's not dinking and dunking. That's just throwing the ball downfield, no pressure. Like I said, this is about as bad as you could start for Michigan.
You're right. This is about the worst start you could. This is a nightmarish start for the Michigan Wolverines.
And like I said, people keep forgetting they lost to Alabama. They're just dismissing Georgia like, well, they suck. And guys like you saying, well, they didn't play tough competition. Well, I'm just going to tell you one thing. They were the best team in the country all year long by a country mile.
Zamir White gets gobbled up on the outside zone. It's going to be 3rd and 3.
It's going to be 3rd and 2.
Third and 2, Grump. Again, you're ahead of me, so you could see when they come out with the measurements on the.
No, I know just what. Remember, I used to do that. That was my job, is telling where the guys were lined up and where they're. I used to call the down and distance.
3rd and 1, Grumpy. You're wrong. That's what it pops up on screen. That being said, you're right. All I'm saying is, at the beginning of the year, you're right. They're pulling off wins when they played Florida.
And it's 3rd and 2. It's actually 3rd and 2. They can say 3rd and 1, but it's 3rd and 2. Remember, until you get to the line, that's in college ball. You don't get the benefit of that half yard. It's 3rd and 2.
Kirby Smart calls a timeout here before the snap, and Georgia is going to look at and change up possible play calls. Maybe they didn't like the formation they had out there. But you kept throwing it on, Grump. I forgot what I was going to say about.
Well, I was trying. When I'm telling you down and distance, that's what it actually is.
I don't need you quibbling about the freaking down and distance.
Well, but I don't need you questioning what I say on that.
God,
I told you it was 3rd and 2, and it is 3rd and 2.
Oh,
they might have 3rd and 1 up there on the screen, but it's actually 3rd and 2.
Oh,
you don't get in college ball. You have to get to that yard marker to get that extra yard. Not in the NFL.
It has not been a great start.
No,
for Michigan at all. And this is something, right? At least if you have this bend don't break, if you can go ahead and stop them and hold them to a field goal, you look at that as a successful item. But yikes.
And the biggest key for this game for me is Michigan's ability to run on Georgia. If they can't run on Georgia, they have no shot of winning this game.
Yep.
None.
Yeah. You're right, because I think McNamara has looked much better this season for Michigan. That being said, to expect him to throw for 300-400 yards is not something I'd feel all that comfortable that I need to rely upon. But Michigan has been playing its best football as of late, right?
Yes.
They beat Ohio State, a top 10 team in the nation. They beat them 42-27. And the last game of the year in the Big Ten championship, they're playing Iowa, who I think Iowa was overrated. That doesn't matter. Still another top 25 teams. They beat them 42-3. It seems like they've been picking up and playing their best football at the end of the season. So,
yeah. That said, the Big Ten is not the SEC, and I think that's the biggest caveat.
Yeah.
If you have teams who are equal, and here's the thing. Michigan's playing the number 2 in the SEC, number 2 team in the SEC, right? And so far, they don't even look like they match up with them. That's
shit, man. Don't say Grumpy. You know what you sound like? You sound like one of those damn announcers on the field. Come on, man. We're one drive in.
I said so far is what I said.
We're one defensive drive in. You might want to pump the brakes a tiny bit, Grump.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, here's the thing. If they can hold them to a field goal, that has to be considered a victory for Michigan. My thing is, if you can't defend the pass against Georgia, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. It was the same concern they had going into the Ohio State game, and they just managed to cover that game. But usually teams with a lot of high-powered receivers give Michigan problems.
They're coming out. Here's a run. I can tell you this much. You're going to see a run here to Zamir White. They put him in motion. Darnell Washington, as well as Bauer, moving over to the other side of the field. Yeah, they do look lost. Michigan scrambling.
Easy first down.
Push. Look at the push. I mean, the line of scrimmage battle so far is being won by Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, they looked a little confused on defense.
Well, what they did is think about how much motion they had right here. You could tell everybody's in man coverage, and they don't know where the hell to go, and they've got that switch. Hutchinson's trying to direct everybody around, but you don't get set for the play defensively, and you've got in a situation where Georgia fires off the ball, gets hats low, and drives the Michigan D-line right off. So A well used timeout. You don't like to use timeouts this early, but a well used timeout here by Kirby Smart.
And there you go. Here's a touchdown, and they're down 6-0.
Yeah, you're still about ahead of me, grumpy old man, by about 10 seconds. So if you hit pause for that, that'd be fantastic. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a touchdown here to Brock Bowers, the true freshman. Fantastic. He catches it out of the flats. Again, it looks like miscommunication on the Michigan defense.
Georgia just walked down the field. Just walked down.
They did. They walked right down the field. Who the hell? Think about this, right? They're in zone coverage, but hold on. You're not going to see me complain about it too much. That's blocking downfield before the pass is caught by that wideout.
If you can let me know when they actually kicked the ball.
They just are kicking now. They just kicked it. He barely made contact with that. That was a dribbler.
Yeah. Not a good kick. I think they've had kicking issues all year long.
Isn't it always weird? And I've always wondered this too. It always seems like these powerhouse SEC schools could never find a freaking kicker
because it's unimportant to them. They'd much rather load up scholarships on other guys. Kickers are just walk-ons.
Most kickers start off as walk. A lot of kickers start off as walk-on. It's only one scholarship. I don't know.
But here's the thing: they're not
you find one really good kicker.
Would you rather spend a scholarship on a kicker or on maybe an extra offensive lineman or an extra defensive end or an extra linebacker or safety or cornerback?
Well, now with NIL, it doesn't really matter. You can just go ahead and win them with money.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Quarantine sprints in Napa, California for Brock Bowers. The kid's great. They utilize the hell out of him. That's going to be a young man who's drafted. But I'm telling you, he was blocking down before that ball was out of hand. That's why that was.
Hold on. You're talking about me pumping the brakes after one drive, and you're saying this kid's going to play in the NFL, and he's a freshman.
Have you ever looked at his numbers?
I don't care what his numbers are.
I know you don't watch enough Georgia football to understand or know about him, but he's fantastic. Okay. He's a fantastic tight end, Grump.
Okay, he's a freshman. Let's see. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Trust
me, Grump. Trust me. You can tell who can play and who can't. The guy is a true freshman. Had 47 receptions this year, 791 yards and 11 touchdowns.
What's his size?
6'4", 235 pounds.
He needs to
the guy's going to be playing the league. I can promise you this. And I don't know what he does blocking. I haven't watched enough games and haven't looked at him close enough blocking wise, but he catches the ball well and he's a pretty smooth route runner.
Yeah,
they utilize the hell out of him. They utilize him all. If tight ends are putting up 1,000 yards or even 700 plus yards, he's going to be drafted and he's going to play in the NFL.
Okay. It all depends on the measurables for a kid like that and his speed.
Okay.
Now here, to me, this is the start of the drive, and already Michigan's going to be behind the chains.
Michigan catches a flag. What is this, a delay of game? Oh, my goodness.
No, it's a false start.
False start.
Just go home, Michigan.
I'll be honest with you. Why do the referees always wear these shirts that are skin tight?
The same reason the players do. They want to show off their fanciful physiques.
68. Jesus. I'll be honest with you. That wasn't much of a move either, but you got to be steady. You got to hold the boat steady.
First, hold your water. First snap of the game, and you get a penalty. Cannot happen.
It shows you who has been in the college football playoffs, semifinals, even a few years, and who is their first time being in this situation. McNamara gets immediate pressure. He's got to scramble out of the backfield. He goes ahead and picks up about a good solid 17 yards on a broken play right there. A 4-man rush gets pressure right in McNamara's face. He finds the hole, and he's able to go ahead and scramble for 17 yards.
Yeah, that's a nice here's the thing.
It's a broken play. That's not good. I mean, they're getting pressure right in his face.
Yeah, they pushed right through the Michigan offensive line. You're right. That's not good news.
I know they picked up the first down. That's not a beacon of good news. A good.
Look at how big Davis is in the middle. He is a huge human being.
He didn't.
Okay, when you see guys running
flea flicker,
a flea flicker for a running back dump off.
Yeah, well, they're obviously going to try to go further downfield. He picked up Haskins, picks up, about 4 or 5. I am interested to watch Davis a good bit this game. I will tell you that much, Grump. But it was a good job by the safety picking that up. And you see Haskins just says, all right, we're going to peel out of the backfield, we're going to pick up a few yards.
I'm always believes when teams are running trick plays, means they know they're not good enough to beat
Flea
you
flicker
straight
is
up.
not a trick play, but yeah, I think you're right. Well, here you go.
A
Boom.
flea flicker, a flea
And that's
flicker
a hell
is
of
a trick play.
That's a hell of a job there by Michigan running back Donovan Edwards, the true freshman who just sticks it right there to the Georgia Bulldogs. I think it was a safety right here. He runs forward, big body lean, and runs him over. They pick up enough for the first down. Looks like Michigan is moving as well. You've got a pass out of the backfield here. Donovan Edwards picks up about 2.
It's 3. I'm just going to say that a flea flicker is a trick play. That's not something you run more than once a game. That's a trick play. And you don't run it every week either. It's a trick play. Maybe you don't know the definition of a trick play being a lineman, former lineman.
Okay. Maybe creative coaches will call flea flicker once or twice a game.
No, they don't call it. They don't call it multiple times a game.
Get over yourself, Grump.
That's a play for desperate teams.
Tony G saying kind of ironic when you're criticizing shirt choices. Yes, it is. Haskins picks up about another 2 yards on this. It looks like it is going to be 3rd and 5, third mid range here for the Michigan Wolverines. Now, let me ask you this. They are relatively close to field goal range. Do you take this as a 2-down approach? Do you say if you're Jim Harbaugh, you say, I'm going to run this, try to pick up additional yards so I can make this 4th and 1 if it needs to be the case? Because are you going to punt from the 40-yard line?
I would go for it, but
so I was about to say, so you're in the camp of let's run, pick up some yards, but they're coming out with an empty back set.
I'm saying it could be 2-down territory is what I'm saying.
4-down territory, Grump.
Right off his hands.
Here's the thing. It gets deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it takes that redirection. And instead of picking up additional yards, now you're stuck in no man's land. It's going to be 4th and 4. Where I suppose if you run that ball and pick up a yard or 2, 4th and 2, you can do a lot more than you can do on 4th and 4. But this gets deflected right at the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
He still almost makes
got to catch that ball.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher to make a catch on a deflected pass than you think. It's 3 yards. 3 yards after the deflection. Get out of here, man.
Got to catch that ball. Hit him right in the hands. Hit him right in the hands.
Hit him in a hand. And I'm telling you, you don't understand how quick those balls are coming in, Grump.
Yeah, they're going for it.
Here's another empty back set, and they're going to be looking for the tight end again, I'm sure.
And he drops another one.
It's overthrown. That
kid's got to ride the pine. Now, you know what? That's that piece of shit who I talked smack about in the Ohio State game. That piece of garbage. Ali's is
Eric All. Right? No, Eric All.
Yeah, he sucks.
It's not a great pass.
It's right in his freaking hands. It's right in his hands.
Watch again, Grump. He leads him.
Yeah, it's right in his freaking hands.
It's Grumpy. That throw is too far. Anytime you're running an out route like that, you run into, if it doesn't have enough zip on it, it could be pick six. It could be pick 6. But when you overthrow it like that and you throw it too quick,
you know what?
Not able to make that. The
mistake was throwing the ball to number 83. That was the Cardinal sin. Now, when you go down 14-0, you might as well just load the bus up. Game's over.
I'm going to throw something out here. Do you remember just seconds ago when I said, why not run the football on 3rd and 4? You're going to be going for it on 4th down anyway. Pick up a few more yards so you can actually have the ability to run on 4th and 4, so they have to respect it. But instead, on both 3rd and 4th down, you come out with empty back sets. Can you let them know a little bit more about what you're planning on doing?
All I'm saying is you got 2 drop passes back-to-back by your 2 tight ends. That's why you get what you get.
You know what? You're being much more harsh.
The Georgia kid makes a good catch on a ball that's not perfectly thrown. They drop 2 that hit them right in the hands. There's your difference. They don't have a whole lot of skill guys on Michigan. They do on Georgia. That's a difference between the SEC and the Big Ten. That's a difference. Better athletes in the SEC.
I agree. As a whole, better athletes on average in the SEC. I'm not denying that. All I'm saying here is this. That's bad play calling. That's bad play calling by the offensive coordinator.
It's poor execution. It's poor execution. The ball hit both receivers right in the freaking hands. If you make 1 catch out of 2, you have a first down. They dropped 2 balls that hit them right in the hands. 2.
Jesus Christ. I don't, maybe you guys who listen, I don't know how I can even argue with this or combat this, Grump. He's in a situation where the ball gets deflected and you have less than 3 yards after the deflection to react on a ball that is.
It was a lollipop pass.
Stop.
It wasn't a rocket pass. I didn't even realize
it was a lollipop pass because they put it in slow motion. Is that why you think it's a lollipop?
Then the other one's, the first one was too soft. The second one's this bed was this porridge is too hot. This one's too cold. This is just right. That pass was too soft. That one's too hard. Maybe
not
the
what I
next
said.
one will be just right. Ugh.
That's not what I
Terrible.
said, Grump. That's not what I
This is
said.
not Goldilocks and the Three
I'm just
Bears.
saying that's poor off. That's
It's
poor.
bad performance by the wide receivers. You got to come up with one catch there. I'm sorry.
Okay, they're tight ends, not wide receivers, but good
Well,
try.
they suck.
John M saying, hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon, John. Good evening.
Yeah, it's good evening.
Grumpy, I can't wait, Grumpy. Don't you even worry. Grumpy, don't you worry. They're showing a little bit of the legendary coaches, both at Georgia and Michigan.
I remember both of those guys. Vince
For
Dooley
those just listening, Grump, why don't you tell us who they are?
Vince Dooley was a great coach, 25 years at Georgia. And then Bo Schembechler, who was probably the best coach all time at Michigan. He never won a national title, though. 13 conferences, no national titles.
Here you've got Georgia back on offense again. They start off
right by him.
Oh, that's what happens when number 4, the corner doesn't keep outside contain.
That's what happens when the other guys have more team speed than you have. That's what happens. They don't have enough team speed.
Stop. That was a white boy, a white tight end.
I don't care what color he is. What the hell does that have to do with speed? They have better athletes with more speed on the Georgia thing. On the
Georgia thing. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Very articulate.
Oh, the Georgia squad. Here's this. This is a first down run right here. You're gonna pick up first down.
It's second and 1, second and 2. Well, that's the thing, right? That's what happens if you go to pick up yards on third down and run the football if you know you're going for it on fourth.
Oh my God. Forget it.
Keep saying, oh my.
Here's the thing. Michigan's not good enough to beat Georgia. There it is. First down, touchdown. Oh, he made a nice tackle. Okay. I didn't realize there was another guy back there.
Touchdown.
I didn't realize they had another guy back there. But here's the thing. This game is over. This game is over right now.
Ladies and gents, you heard that now. Turn off the live stream because this game is over.
It's over.
This game's over, as per Grumpy. What happens is you got the linebacker. Oh, Jesus. They get caught up. They don't peel off to where the hole is. We've got a little dump off pass, and the zone they're back with is just yikes. I mean, like Michigan, the zone is so deep back there. It allows a little dump off to the flats, the running back, to pick up 8 yards because the zone is back so far off of the receivers.
Why? Because they don't have the team speed to keep up with the speed of the Georgia wideout. So they got to play deeper. They're going to get burned every play, like has happened so far in this game.
Tony Cheese says, "Game over. Thanks for the content, boys." Well, there you go. Good, Grumpy. Good. I hope you're getting what you asked for, Grump. But shit, I mean, Michigan can't go down 14-0. They've got to get a stop. They have to make some sort of play.
Here's the thing: if I'm Georgia, this is 4-down territory for me.
Well, they're going to put a field goal up there. You run the ball right here for Georgia, and here it is. Right, they're bringing in Grump. There it is. They're bringing back in a heavy back. Kenny McIntosh. I'm sorry. I mean, you've got 4 deep running backs with Georgia. You don't even see him. Kendall Milton is another one of those big bruisers of a back for Georgia. They have a lot of depth at running back, and that's their offensive line. I'm sure has a fantastic time just mauling over those other opponents' defensive lines.
First down. Let's start talking about next week's championship game between Georgia and Alabama.
Freaking stop. You're ridiculous. You are fucking ridiculous. I'm not dealing with that bullshit right now. It's so early, and here you are. And this goes here to Zamir White. It's a little pitch outside. And what have they done? Right? They start off with a few powers. They're not running any type of like outside zones or anything like that. They're either running like a sweep to where they've got guys either running with a power to cut inside of Hutchinson, or they're running sweeps to where they've got items and they've got tight ends crashing down on him. They want to try to neutralize him as much.
Oh my God.
That's a trick play.
Nothing.
Jesus Christ.
Just like that. Like I said, just like that.
Well, hold on, Grumpy. When teams start pulling out trick plays, that means they're done. Well, that's a trick play.
Or when they want to step on a team's throat and say, that's it. You're fine.
Oh, okay. So now you're going to make that little adjustment. I'll tell you one thing. You talk about a hell of a play call. That's a hell of a play call, right? You're moving the ball ad nauseum. You're getting huge chunks.
You know that's a pass immediately, though, don't you? As soon as he starts swinging back into the backfield, you know it's a pass.
For certain. And, I mean, like Michigan, Jesus Christ.
Michigan, their Their backfield is not athletic enough. That was an issue all year long. All year long. Not athletic enough. Against the Ohio State game, that's what everyone thought. Could Michigan keep up athletically with Ohio State's wide receiver group? They didn't have to because they were so dominant at the line of scrimmage. That's not the case tonight. I mean, you're seeing their defensive backfield get exposed.
Well, it's not okay. Stop. It's not that. Grump, the issue hasn't been that they're not able to cover the pass. The issue is their defense, their offensive line is just the defensive line is just mauling. The Michigan State, the Michigan State defensive line is just getting mauled. When
It's
you're running the
Michigan,
ball,
not
when you that's what I said.
Michigan.
I'm sorry, I keep saying Michigan State. I was watching. I'm still in the Pittsburgh Michigan State game from last evening. I apologize, but Michigan's offensive line or defensive line just keeps getting mauled and just bull rushed. I mean, I'm telling you, they're just getting moved right off the ball.
You realize I'm undefeated in my predictions in these bowl games, right?
Oh,
And here's the thing: you picked Pittsburgh. I picked Michigan State.
I don't know who I picked, Trump. I don't actually.
You picked Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's your team. You know you picked Pittsburgh.
I didn't pick Pittsburgh. I said they're probably going to lose. They're down to the.
You said they were going to win.
Hold on a sec. Hold on a freaking second, Crump. Let's talk about this. You were shitting all over Kenny Pickett, the quarterback from Pittsburgh, from sitting out of his bowl game. Oh, he quit on the Kenny Pickett quit on the team. I can't believe he did that.
And I said that they were going to lose.
Stop. Then what happens? Backup quarterback Nick Patty gets tackled and breaks his collarbone. If that was Kenny Pickett, who got tackled in the same nature and broke his collarbone, he wouldn't be able to compete in any of those workouts, offseason workouts, to either improve his draft stock, and he wouldn't be able to compete in any type of combine. That would negatively impact his ability to get drafted. You go from consensus first quarterback off the board to where maybe you're not the consensus first quarterback off the board if you can't compete in any type of pro days.
That's the stupidest comparison I've ever heard. One guy getting hurt has no bearing on somebody else getting hurt. Maybe Kenny Pickett isn't in that situation because the offense is run a little bit differently when he's in there.
I'm saying
maybe the other kid is soft as hell.
Oh yeah, he's got really soft collarbones.
He's got brittle bone syndrome, perhaps.
All I'm saying is this: you see, the chance for him to get injured is real and legitimate. It happened to the backup quarterback. Could have happened to Kenny Pickett that night, and that's why the young
coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know what? I don't want to draft Kenny Pickett. Then he might get hurt. No, don't even draft him. Why would you waste your time? He could potentially get hurt. Like I said, that's the stupidest analogy ever. Just dumb.
John M saying Georgia's impressing me on offense. They've moved the ball right down the field.
Yeah,
and then he's also saying I thought Michigan's defense would be better. I thought the D line would be better.
They're not athletic enough on the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the backfield. They're not very
keep saying that.
Georgia's guys are wide freaking open. It means they can't keep up with the wide receivers, and they don't have the greatest wide receiver group in the country.
Okay. You keep saying they're wide freaking open.
They are wide open.
They're running the ball at will. These wide open passes, right? The trick play, yeah, it's wide open because it's a busted play. And other items, I mean, a fantastic catch by Bowers. I'm not saying the
wide open on a bad throw. The guys are what? They got 3, 4, 5 yards with Michigan guys not even there. You could say whatever you want. I don't care. The guys are wide open. He's not having to throw in any tight windows.
We've got about 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Michigan is trailing 14-0. Yikes. If you're a Michigan fan right now, I think you're starting to hit the worry button. You're starting to hit the panic button a little bit. I would be. That's for certain. If Michigan was my team, I'd be hitting the panic button a bit. I mean, the offense moved the ball well. You just kind of got stopped and stalled about the 40-yard line of the Georgia Bulldogs. I think bad play calling by the offensive coordinator didn't help, and also poor execution.
It's poor execution.
You know what, Grumpy? It could be more than one thing which stops and stalls a drive, believe it or not. But that's a hell of a run. So
you think 3rd and 4, 2 short passes, the guys who are wide open, and they drop 2 balls, that's poor play calling? I don't think
they didn't drop balls. Anyway, grumpy old man. Haskins with a hard run for 4 yards for the Michigan Wolverines. You've got to get the one game established. Was that
McCarthy's in there now?
I was about to say they're bringing the dual threat. They're bringing the dual threat quarterback in. That's more of a running threat. So this is kind of odd and shocking. But I guess they want to start off this drive a little differently than they did last drive. They want to go ahead and start to establish the run game a little bit more and then get McNamara a little more comfortable. Holy shit. Holy shit. Did you just see that defensive tackle, grumpy old man? He just stuck it right to the Michigan pulling guard. Holy crap. There's nothing that gets me more excited than watching something like that. Trayvon Walker, look at this. Boom! Holy shit. He almost pancakes the offensive lineman. Hey, guess what there, buddy? You might want to pack your freaking lunch pail and show up to the damn game. Woo!
Or you might want to just say, you know what, Georgia, you're just better than we are.
Boom! There's nothing that makes me happier than that. I'll tell you, you got to fire off the ball a little better than that, Michigan. Come on, man. He's a polling guard like that. And it wasn't even like his hat was high. The guy gets underneath him and just unloads. Yikes. Oh, they pick up enough for the first down.
Oh, that's a poor play call throwing to a guy wide open. Poor play call. Now, if he drops that, is it a poor play call?
No,
he said you got to catch the ball.
If he drops that. No, the thing is, that wasn't a bad pass. That was a good pass.
The other one was good too.
Oh, stop. I mean, Georgia gets pressure right in he gets pressure right in McNamara's face. I'm talking about he's maybe got 2.5 seconds back there in the pocket before he's got to release the ball.
Yeah, the McCarthy kid plays when they're going to be running the ball. The other kid plays when they're going to be throwing.
You need to be throwing. Well, you don't want to make it so obvious.
Oh, my God.
Dude, I'm sorry. McNamara, you cannot take a sack there. You've got to find a way out of the pocket on that and just throw the ball out. He sits in the pocket. He's got pressure in his face, and he starts turtling up. I mean, what does it take for him? Look at this, right? He's got the ability, right? I got pressure in my face. Oh, God almighty, find a way out.
They totally collapsed everything.
That's what I told you. The defensive line, the pass rush has been fantastic, and it puts them. I mean, honestly, this is a very, very tough situation for them to convert. 2nd and 16, they have not looked fantastic passing the ball this early. They haven't been gaining a whole bunch of yards, and they pick up the wrong guy. The offensive tackle picks up the wrong man on the blitz. They get the wrong slide side protection called. They're sliding the right-hand side. You've got the blitz from Georgia coming on the left-hand side. Look at this right here. Tackle picks up the wrong guy. Okay. Look at that. You've got the guard and the tackle are miscommunicating. The guard slides inside. He needs to pick up the defensive end. Your tackle is supposed to slide out for the outside linebacker.
Okay, great.
Slide the wrong way.
We got it. Here's the one thing we don't have to worry about them considering going for it on 4th down this drive. They'll be punting after this play.
It's 3rd and 16. Yeah, there's a lot of mental mistakes and there's a lot of errors on this side. It doesn't help when you're having those errors and you're playing against a team that's way better than you.
That's the way to make a tackle.
Yep.
17 came all the way across the field to mark him. That was his guy, and he makes the tackle in the backfield.
Kobe. Yep. Kobe Dean.
Look at him. Look at him. Tell me he doesn't know what the hell play is coming.
The lateral quickness.
It looks like he came off the freaking sidelines.
He moves well. Kobe Dean moves
extremely well. I think that kid won the Butkus Award, didn't he?
Yeah, he's that's what I said. He's a great. I mean, you got him and Nolan Smith. The linebacker core is fantastic. The defensive line's outstanding, right? Yikes.
For a loss. They made the tackle coming across the field for a loss.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. They don't have any athletes like that on Michigan's defensive side of the ball.
John M. saying, I'm watching some football, making short ribs and stir fry. Ooh, for his fiance. Watching Bill Nye, the Science Guy, or the Nye Show. I don't know. What is that? Like Bill Nye, the Science Guy?
I don't know.
And listen to the Grumpy and TJ, the ultimate multitasking. Well, thanks, John.
John is he's multifaceted, multi-skilled. I hope his fiance appreciates that.
I'll be honest.
Hopefully he's able to cook.
Case scenario. This is the worst case scenario for Michigan. They offensively look like they can't move the ball. The defensive line for Georgia looks to be way too much for Michigan to handle. And on top of that, the linebacking core looks fantastic for Georgia. And offensively, I always said the biggest weakness for Georgia is in quarterback. It's Bennett, and he's looked good today.
Because he's got no pressure in his face. None. Here's the thing. Georgia's defense is playing like they played all year with the exception of the Alabama game. With the exception of the Alabama game, they've been absolutely freaking dominant, giving up less than 7 points a game. Think about that. That's incredible defensive play. They had the bad – everyone forgets. Everyone was picking Georgia before Alabama. Oh, They're the best defensive team ever. They have one bad game, and then you have some type of clowns who say things, well, they don't play anybody tough. They don't play any competition. Look at how weak the SEC East is. All I know is they beat everybody on their schedule except for Alabama, who I just think they have a mental hang-up. I'm going to go one step further, though. If they're going to beat Alabama, this is the year. This is the year for them to beat Alabama. They're right now, maybe they went in saying, hey, we're better than Alabama this year. They got kicked in the teeth. You know they're going to come out playing tougher in the NCAA championship game.
Yeah, the college football playoff, championship
Whatever.
game. That's correct. Yeah. God almighty, Grumpy. Now I'll ask you this. So you're already willing to write this game is over then, huh?
Yep.
Jesus.
I want people to listen because I'm going to rake on TJ the whole game. I'm going to bury him with his idiotic things that he says. He's pretty good at what he talks about, the football things. But when he's rooting for a certain team, you picked Michigan in this game, didn't you?
I said yes. I said
okay. And who did I pick?
Victory. Grump, here's the thing. I'm not going to pick the same team as you. Believe it or not, it's good for us to have different interests. John M. says a New Year's Eve show. Damn it, that's right. I forgot today was New Year's Eve. Think about that. Ooh.
Yes.
B. Bean says Bama looked good today, but not unbeatable. I was about to say, I think that Bryce Young just looked pedestrian at times. He did. And for a guy, that wins the Heisman, you think to yourself, all right, and he's got all the weapons around him. I thought he was going to light that team up. I didn't think necessarily Cincinnati's defense was fantastic. I thought they got a little bit of a pass rush on him, and with pressure in his face, just like with all quarterbacks, he looked pedestrian. And that's the key to success.
Yeah, for me, well, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about Alabama. The game is getting ready to start again, and I want to see Georgia score again.
And Happy New Year, B. Bean. Happy New Year.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you've got their lineup in it. You've got another run here. Okay. Well, Michigan's able to hold them to about 4 yards on the opening run. Grumpy old man for James Cook. We've seen a lot of James Cook early. And again, you talk about the rotation of the backs. We've seen a lot of James Cook. We've seen a lot of Zamir White. We've seen a good, healthy amount of Kenny McIntosh. You talk about a stable of running backs. Georgia's got that.
This is he missed the first 11 games of the season with a knee injury. It's a good guy to have adding back into your lineup right at the end of the season, isn't it?
For certain, right? When Jesus Christ,
Michigan. But here's the thing: he's freaking wide open again. He's wide open again. They cannot keep up with this with the speed of wide receiver. They just can't do it.
They're going to take the free play. I know he was out of bounds when he caught that, but that's if with a better pass, right? With a better pass on target, that's completed because he did go ahead. He burned. He walks right around.
You want to know the guys who wear the tight shirts as referees, the ones who are, lift weights in their 50s. Those are the guys.
I'll be honest with you, dude. I've never gotten the obsession with the tight shirts.
Look at me. It's look at me. Look at me. What great shape I'm in.
He's Hutchinson trying to make a play, trying to do something. Right? It doesn't cost you too much. It's only 5 yards, but geez, man, oh man, this is about.
Was he out of bounds on that catch?
He was. This is a nightmare. This is like every single Michigan fan, if they had like cold sweats and they had the nightmarish thoughts about what could happen in this game, this is it. Well, here you go.
Tackle.
That play call, Jesus. Michigan had that sniffed out from the start.
I would have just run the ball there.
Got a bubble screen right here, and look at this. Michigan has that sniffed out. You're going to see him. You're going to see him walk up the field. He notices that the bubble screen's coming. He peels off. Boop.
You knew that was a bubble screen, though, didn't you? Really?
Tight end's got to work on him. Tight end picked up the wrong guy. You've got. I think that's Darnell Washington. He picks up the wrong guy.
You don't expect a defensive end to come out there and make that play.
Okay. Well, hey man, this is supposed to be Mel Kiper's number one player on the board.
He won't be after today.
Tony Shee's saying, please don't rape TJ. Please don't rape on TJ.
Rape.
Yeah,
rape.
Yeah, that's right, Grumpy. That's right, Grumpy. John M is saying, Grump is correct. Bama is ripe for the picking.
Here's what I think. I think today's Alabama game, they had a lot of guys out. They got 2 offensive linemen out. Another one went out at the end of the game. They were down to their 3rd and 4th cornerbacks. Cincinnati was just inept. I mean, they're just not very good. They're like maybe if you put them in a big conference, maybe they're like 6th or 7th team in the conference. It's just not very good. But that said, Alabama just did what they had to do today. The running game was working. They didn't need to throw the ball. Why would you need to throw the ball if you're getting almost 300 yards on the ground? The kid, I don't know, whatever his name was, Reynolds, whatever his name is, had 243
You
yards
talking
on the
about
ground
Brian
today.
Johnson,
There
Brian
you go.
Robinson?
Yeah, Robinson, that's it.
I mean, they've got Robinson and Trey Sanders. Those are the two guys. And I mean, again, they ran the ball ad nauseum.
And
Got some
Will.
more comments. Sam Jones saying, "Go blue." Sam, I got bad news, man. It's not looking good right now for Michigan. That stop right there is good. You have got to come away and force upon. If you're Michigan, you cannot let them walk down the field. You can't even let them score a field goal at this point. You have got to get your defense off the field. You've got to get a drive, and you have to establish a little bit of movement and momentum. Right now, the line of scrimmage is being taken by the Georgia Bulldogs on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and that is bad for the game, man.
Yeah.
Harry
Here's the
W
deal.
saying, "Go Dogs!"
Oh, I like that little logo. That's nice. I like that.
It's a little
Uh,
orange on top of the Orange Bowl.
it's nice. I like it. Um, I'm Here's the thing. I'm joking saying the game is over, but if they stop them on third down here and get the ball back and score, they're right back in it. It was a miserable first quarter. I mean, they got kicked in the teeth. And how do they respond? This is a veteran team for Michigan, right? A lot of, 50-year seniors, a lot of senior. It's an older group. So, you know, they kind of know what they have to do. If it was a young team, you could just mail it in. But they're a veteran team, and they know that they can still have a chance to fight back. They must make a stop here, though, on third down. You cannot have Georgia come down and score again.
No.
Cannot happen.
And again, for all those of you who are new, welcome to the show. It's a TJ and a Grumpy Man. We go live during big sporting events just like this evening. We'll also be going live, I guarantee you, during the college football playoffs, whoever that is against Alabama. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. But Grump, coming out of this timeout, Michigan, this is a huge third down. B. Bean says, does Michigan look capable of winning right now? No. But the biggest thing is they have to find a way to steal some points before halftime. They've got to make halftime adjustments. They have got to fire off. And I'm just not sure if they're capable of winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. Doesn't look like it right now.
I just don't. And there it is. Oh.
I'll be honest with you, that's borderline pass interference. He catches the ball. It's a hell of a job fighting through that by the wideout. If he doesn't catch that football, I wouldn't be shocked if a flag's not thrown here.
He needs to lead him a little bit more. He just can't keep up. He's just too big. Wide open. Oh, dropped it. Got to catch that ball.
Darnell Washington. Okay, be honest with you, Washington. He's kind of left in a compromised position. Washington is a hell of a recruit. He was originally a 5-star recruit. I think he committed to LSU back in the day. I think he then transferred to Georgia. 6'7", fantastic. I believe out in Nevada. You look at the guy, physical specimen. He's 6'7", like 260 pounds. The guy moves like a freaking gazelle out there on the field.
I mean, the Michigan guy hit him and knocked himself out. That said, Zero's got to catch the ball there. He's got to make that catch.
Eddie B saying here, nobody's beating Alabama, period. Eddie, I'm not sure, man. I thought if they can get over the mental hang-up that I think Grump was mentioning, that they just don't think they can beat Alabama, and they just have it in their head. Kirby Smart for whatever reason, Kirby Smart coach team just can't beat Alabama. I think this year, talent-wise, I think both of those teams have holes, and I think that, Georgia might have the slight edge on it.
Alabama had got a number of injuries today and had a lot of guys hurt going into this game today. So, if Georgia's going to beat them, this is the time right now. I think Alabama has to come in with maybe a little bit overconfidence after just rolling Georgia a couple of weeks ago. So, maybe Georgia takes it. You know what? We're not going to get beat by them again. It's tough to beat a team multiple times in a year. It just is.
Yeah, Eddie, it does look. I mean, they've got you talk about what could shift momentum. A fluky play, a bad snap by the center, a sack where Hutchinson is able to say, hey, it's a second, let's say in 5. Hutchinson gets off edge. They're passing the football. Bennett holds on to it a bit too long, and Hutchinson sacks him for, -8, right? And they're able to force, a punt by Georgia. That's the only way they're stopping this offense as of right now, or Georgia will have a self-inflicted issue. But
and Alabama's offensive line has not been great
Yeah,
this
Lisa.
year. It hasn't.
Yeah, Lisa. Michigan. They're just losing the battle at the line of scrimmage. They got to get the let out. It's at one point, right? You could say, hey, they got to try harder. They got to do this. They got to do that. I'm sorry. They're just not as talented. They're not as quick off the line of scrimmage. They're not as strong off the line of scrimmage. Yikes. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Michigan, but things don't look good for them.
Tribe saying here, Harbaugh is a piece of shit. No one is surprised.
Tribe is a noted Ohio State fan.
Is he really? I forgot.
Yes, he is.
Oh, man.
I know he is. That's okay. He's a little butthurt that Ohio State. But here's the thing. Ohio State plays tomorrow. I'm sure he's going to be happy after that game. I don't know who they're playing, but I think they're playing Baylor, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's an interesting game to watch. That's the one thing about bowl games. You see teams that normally don't play one another, so it's interesting. Look at this kid, though. I mean, you got to be happy for the Bennett kid. Wanted to play since he was 3. I don't know how the hell he remembers back that far.
Look at that. That's a hell of a job timing the snap. And
oh my God.
Shit. Remember when we said like you got to get the lead out of your ass and like there's just a different level of physicality in the SEC? Holy shit, what a stiff arm. What a stiff arm. The defensive back gets caught flat-footed and he says, hey, don't worry about it. This is how you play a man's game. It just stiff arms to the ground. You're sitting right here at 3rd and 1. You've got to stop. Jesus. Think about it. They get into the backfield. I wonder if they're going to call holding on that. They get to the backfield, but go ahead.
He has time to dance around and look because they get no penetration. None. No penetration. It's like you got to stop him on 3rd down occasionally or once.
Yeah. I tell you, defense has got to get off the field. And the issue you're going to run in with Michigan is even if you have a fantastic halftime adjustment, hey, what we're noticing here is, it doesn't matter what you draw up out there and halftime, your defense is going to be gassed if you don't get them off the field like this. You just haven't been getting enough sustained time in offense. Can Hutchinson bring it? Look at Bennett. Look at Bennett.
Look at little Bennett go. Little Bennett, go down, boy.
Look at the play. Bennett looks like everything is lost. Everything downfield. He's got Hutchinson staring him right down. I can try to scramble out of the pocket if I can get some yards. But look at this. I wish they freeze frame it. He is in a shitty situation. The guys in the routes that they're running are being blocked off by Hutchinson. They're all covered downfield. They've got Michigan Wolverines right in his face, and he's able to get out of the pocket and pick up a 1st down and additional yards for an explosive play.
Everything they've done has worked. Everything. They haven't. I think they had the one negative play when Hutchinson made the tackle on the wide receiver screen. Other than that, I think they've gained yards on just about every play.
John M. saying the talent level is just too deep in the SEC.
Yeah, the SEC is by far, and they have been for years and years and years, forever, actually, the best conference in the land. I'm going to say the last 20 years. And it's not even been close.
Top to bottom for certain. I don't think there's any arguing with that. I think maybe you could squint at it and say occasionally, okay, you can run across a Clemson. That's
Clemson's one team. It's not a conference.
I know.
Oh,
that's what you said.
Was that the kid?
You could run across it. All I'm saying is you can occasionally run across a team or two that can give the SEC trouble, or they could, elevate themselves to the top level. I mean, even look at Ohio State back when the college football playoffs first came around, when they had Ezekiel Elliott, right? They're fantastic. They're this, they're that. Yeah, generally speaking, though, the SEC is just dominant in that. It just is what it is. B. Bean says, if there is another all SEC final, will this speed up a playoff expansion?
They're already stalling on it. They're already stalling because it's about money. It's all about money. Who gets what money? They always say, well, maybe 2024 is in jeopardy for having that done. That you can do that tomorrow if you want. All right. Is this the kid who's the 1st-round draft pick? He just ran a shitty route before.
Grump, you got to learn the players. No, grumpy old man.
He looks like a tight end, this guy.
That's John Fitzpatrick. That's not Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers would not have dropped that ball. I mean, that's one you got to come up with. And that's one Fitzpatrick wants back, especially as you're 3rd and 9. Well, it's not the end of the world for Michigan fans. They did hold him to a field goal attempt, and the kicker has struggled a little bit. This last kick, we saw the extra point.
Do you remember when they used to have the guy with the glasses kick for them, Blankenship?
Yeah, I remember Blankenship. Mm-hmm.
He wound up kicking himself out of the NFL.
I feel bad for him. I like Blankenship.
And 17-0.
It's 17-0.
Oh, he did go through. Okay. Yeah, it hit off the. I thought it hit off the thing, and I thought it maybe hit off the crossbar, but it didn't. It looks like it bent off the net and then off the crossbar.
Your eyes are old, grumpy old man. Now,
Okay.
do I think it will speed up playoff expansion? I hope it does. And this is what Grumpy and I have talked about in the podcast before. This year was a somewhat exciting year for the Cotswold playoffs, where we did get some new people that have been introduced in. I'm not a Michigan fan. I'm not a Cincinnati fan. For the good of the game, you like to occasionally see other teams in this. You don't want to just think where it's like, oh, every year it's a foregone conclusion. You're going to see Clemson, you're going to see Notre Dame, you're going to see Alabama, you're going to see Georgia, you're going to see Ohio State, the same 5 or 6 teams every single year. Maybe you swap them out every once in a while. So that was nice to see. But it is all about the money, man. Could you not imagine a few extra college football playoff games, maybe go to like a quarterfinal? There's so much more money to be had, but they're quibbling over it. But, they want to get their stake of the pie.
Yeah, the NCAA is a little bit butthurt that, they lost the ruling where they can use the players as indentured servants. And now they have to enable them to get paid using their image and license.
Name, image,
Name,
and
yes,
likeness.
NIL, yes. So they're a little bit butthurt at that because now they can't go under the amateurism rule where they were not having to pay any of their players and use them like dogs for all those years. So they don't like that. So now they got to find some other way to bring in more money for them because it's all, like I said, it's always about money, always.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing in this. There's no way that they can't implement that immediately. And like I said, when they tell you, oh, we're concerned for the health of the players, they could care less about the health of the players. Could care less.
I do agree.
That's the biggest laugh. That's the biggest laugh of all, honestly. We care about the student athlete. They could care less.
Mm-hmm.
They had no problem, using their numbers and filling their coffers, but let the kids need some meal money. Tough shit. Put them on suspension.
You got Louis O saying Michigan was overrated, plain and simple. Ohio State lost to Oregon and they lost to Michigan or lost to Oregon, and Iowa had no offense and their defense played a bunch of no ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad for Michigan. I like to see them do well. I root for all teams to do well. I like to see good games. To me, Cincinnati never should have been in there. They were never going to beat anyone. Even the top 8 teams, they would have lost in the first round. They're just not that good. Yeah. But Michigan, they don't match up with Georgia. They don't match up with Alabama. They would have beaten Cincinnati handily, but they don't match up with the SEC teams. Georgia was the best team all year. Alabama was second. That's just the way it was. SEC's the king.
Leandrew Thomas there saying, laugh my ass off. You guys are sounding dumb trying to root for Georgia over Bama right now. Here's the thing. I would like to see maybe Georgia win a college football championship. I'd like to see them win a college football playoff just once. There's a certain point. I mean, Nick Saban's fantastic. I would argue he's the best college football coach in the history of college football. What, Grum?
No. I'm not saying he's not a great college football coach. He is, but I mean, there's so many great college football coaches through the history of the game. You're a typical millennial thinking, oh, well, since it happened in the last 20 years, nothing else before even existed.
Okay. You see now the disparity between the best teams and, the teams that are not as good have tightened. Back, I don't know who you would make an argument that's a better coach than Nick Saban, grumpy old man.
Bud Wilkinson was a fantastic coach. Newt Rockne. I mean, there's been a lot of coaches in the history of this game where you're going to say Nick Saban's the greatest of all time.
What time period did they coach in?
It doesn't matter what it is.
Stop. What time period did they coach in?
It doesn't matter when they coached. You're saying anybody who's not in now's time frame is nowhere near as good as a guy in today's time frame. That's why you're a millennial, right there. There you go. You just hit it right on the head.
If you actually take a second to breathe, I'll tell you why. Grumpy, what time periods did they coach?
It doesn't matter. A good coach is a good coach. So 50 years from now, when there's a new good coach.
When you're coaching when offensive linemen were 240 pounds, 250 pounds, the game has changed an awful lot. Athletes are much more talented and better schemes, and the game of football is much more broken down into a minute level now than it was 50, 60, 70 years ago.
That's where I disagree. You have the teams that have all the best athletes, their teams are better. Back then, guys weren't 350 pounds on the offensive line. They were all built the same. That's when coaching was even more important.
Oh, good gracious.
Now it's just mostly a skill game.
Michigan picks up the first down. They're
And I'm
going to
not
have to
putting
get a
down Nick
drive.
Saban. I'm not putting down Nick Saban and saying he's not a great coach. He is. He's a fantastic recruiter, and he's a really good coach. Look at his coaching staff. They're loaded with ex-NFL head coaches. All right? So don't tell me it's just Nick Saban.
Oh, no, for certain. Here's the thing. He's the one constant that's at Alabama. How many coordinators go somewhere else and flop out? That's all I'm going to tell you on that portion. But no, he's the one constant. You've got a read option. Is that McCartney?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the McCarthy kid.
McCarthy.
The number one dual threat. I wish he could throw the ball some.
Louis O there saying Michigan getting ran over right now by Georgia. That they are. And the Big Ten's overrated. What's new?
Well, I don't think the Big Ten's overrated.
I don't disagree with that one. Nolan Smith, what a hell of a job breaking down on that. He doesn't go ahead and overcommit. He does a great job of strafing, and he makes the tackle. That's a great job by Nolan Smith there, linebacker from the Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia's defense is outstanding, and it has been all year, with the exception of the Alabama game. I was really surprised. I didn't know if they beat Alabama. Oh, my God, wide open.
He beats them deep. Beats them
play.
deep. Michigan might get a little bit of life here. They get a big completion. Their first explosive play of the afternoon, or the first explosive play of the evening. They've now gotten the way down to the Georgia Bulldogs red zone. They've got to come away with a touchdown. They've got to come away with points. That was a good pass by McNamara. Hits him in stride, and a nice catch by the wide receiver over the shoulder.
Number 11 thought he was playing in the maize and blue right there. Let him run right by him.
Stop, Grumpy, stop. I'll tell you.
Why is the other kid in the game right now?
McCarthy.
He's done nothing. Oh, wait, who is it?
It's McNamara. Grumpy.
Okay, McNamara's in there. I don't know why they flashed to the other kid on the sideline. He should just sit on the side.
Well, this is the drive. You've got to come away with a touchdown. You talk about breaking. Why? Oh, freaking why is that the play call in the red zone? Why are you running where you've got two different fake handoffs? You do not have a time. Your offensive linemen have not blocked well enough to give you enough time to have a play like that work. I'm sorry. That's just a dumb play call, man. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Dumb.
Well, here's the thing. The tight end just could not block Smith. Could not block him. The two linebackers.
You're leaving a tight end. It wasn't Smith too, Grumpy. That was 84 is a tight end. That was Kobe Dean. He didn't block Kobe Dean. But here's the thing. You're putting him one-on-one with Dean. I'm sorry. What are you expecting? You're not expecting success. I'm just saying, what a shitty play call by the offensive coordinator. You do not have a chance to be trying to run that fancy dance. Okay. You cannot run a trick play like that. That's a long developing trick play in the red zone with the field shortened and shrunk.
Okay. Why do they do that? Because they don't think they can beat them head up.
You're moving. This is the first drive that you're moving the ball, and you're actually
one play.
Stop.
It was one play.
They ran the ball for a first down too, Grumper. You're just ignoring the first few first downs that drive.
Okay, it was all predicated on the one big play down the field. They got to get a little bit closer to get a shot at the field.
Jesus, you're gonna drive me freaking nuts, man. All I'm saying is it puts you at a huge loss. And here's the thing. If you don't have that hideously stupid play call of a trick play like that, a long developing trick play in the red zone, you're sitting here at 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Jesus.
You got to put points on the board.
You think
you got to go for you would have had to go for the field goal. You can't come away with no points.
Jake Moody going to be attempting the field goal here. This is very makeable. You got to come away with points.
He's a Lou Groza winner. They hype up how great he is. He's probably going to miss this kick. They put the jinx up there on
him. Let's see.
He puts it through.
That's a nice kick. It's a nice kick. Yeah. Puts it right through the uprights, right through the middle. B Bean says, if the playoff was expanded this year, would the final two teams be different?
No.
This is an interesting. No chance, Grump.
Nope. They were the two best teams in the country all year long. All year long, two best teams. Georgia was the best team all year till they played Alabama. Alabama is Alabama, so they're always in there. They played their best game of the year when they had to, which was against Georgia. They didn't deserve to beat Auburn, in my opinion. There were a couple other games where they just squeaked it out. But you have that pedigree, and Saban's a great coach, but you have that pedigree, and you find ways to win those games because you're in them all the time. You see teams shrink in the big moments, underdogs. They usually shrink in the big moments. If you've been there before, you find ways to win those games.
Yeah, I think experience is important in that respect, right? Jim Harbaugh obviously has been, you talk about experience, right? He's been in the Super Bowl before. The guy's been he's been at the pinnacle. I'm just saying, for a lot of the players, though, sometimes the moment can be too big out of the start. So maybe you're going to see Michigan start to settle in a bit. Maybe you're going to see them right at first. Defense was kind of getting blown off the ball. Offense kind of looked anemic. Again, I think a bad play call right there doesn't help them and stalls out the drive in the red zone. But maybe they're able to settle in a bit if they maybe or prevent, force a punt here by Georgia and they put up even another field goal. They go into halftime only down by, 11 at that time period. Not the end of the world for them for how they played. They should, honestly, they should be down by more than 14 at this time period. So if you're a Michigan fan, right, got to hope for a 3 and out. You got to hope for some sort of stop on defense and to come away with some points. That is a successful. That's a successful job of salvaging what was a very bad first half.
Yeah, second quarter is 3-3. So, they play 4 quarters. They still don't look really like they're capable of stopping Georgia when it matters. And that's a problem. Like I said, this game, like we mentioned off the top, whoever won the trenches was going to win this game.
Yeah. Again, looks like it's going in favor of Georgia at the moment there. Eddie Blank saying, wow, the SEC has all the talent in all of college football. John M. saying, I never expected this from Georgia's offense.
Yeah, they're playing better than they have all year. I think they have something to prove. Maybe they were reading their press clippings before getting destroyed by Alabama. And maybe it's back to the drawing board. That's the only reason I give them a shot to beat Alabama if they make it to the championship game. Because maybe they're like, okay, maybe we're not all that in a slice of bread.
Louis O is saying, this grumpy guy is awesome.
Thank you, Louis.
He's also saying, why not? Why are you surprised by Georgia's offense? Michigan has played nobody worthy. Once again, Ohio State even lost to Oregon.
That was a good game, too, the Ohio State-Oregon game.
But I say the first game of the year, too. It was second game of the year. I think it's second game of the year.
I think it was the second game of the year for Oregon, first game for Ohio State, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's so long ago. I remember it was early on in the year, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still hot out then.
Barry W. there saying, go Dogs. We got here B Bean saying, I agree with you 100%, Grumpy. The NCAA does not care about the health and safety of players. Not at all.
Nope, they do not. Not at all.
Yep. Grumpy with the 100% truth. Yeah, for certain he is. And the last Georgia national championship was 1980.
Yeah. And Vince Dooley was the head coach then. I remember watching that game. I think they beat Penn State to win that, I believe. Yeah, Bear Bryant. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, like I said, there's so many. Just
nobody's better than Saban. I'm telling you, Saban think about how different things are now.
Yeah, things are different. That's right. You have right now. I think the game was different, but so was everything else. I think that Nick Saban before this year was able to cheat better than everybody else and pay his players better than everybody else.
Everybody paid players. It wasn't
just
Saban.
But they pay better. Okay. Clemson is another team, right? Dabo Swinney, he was fantastic. How many games? It's all about the talent that you have. Okay. You have the most talent, you're going to win more championships. Gotcha. Dabo Swinney was until this year, and you could make a saying that he's the best coach in college football.
Well, we've got right now, Georgia's got the ball back. Grumpy, take your breath, get some grape drink in. This is hopefully going to be it's hopefully going to be a long drive, right? You got 6 minutes and 30 seconds left. Georgia wants to wind the clock down the remainder of this quarter and to go into half with at least a 14, if not 17, or perhaps a 21-point lead. It's going to be third and about, was it 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3? 3rd and 3 here for the Georgia Bulldogs. Wow, tonight is the largest deficit that Michigan has faced all season long.
Yeah, previously 4 points at Michigan State. Yeah, so
Georgia is 4 and 5 on their third down so far here today.
Empty backfield once again.
Formation. I don't like this formation. Why? It's quite blatantly a pass, but you've got no running back out of the backfield. Ooh, okay. Let's see what's gonna.
He's got forever to throw
He's
the ball.
bombing it deep. Does he get
Oh!
holy what a pass. Holy crap. What a pass and catch.
To the
That
running
is
back. To the running back runs a wheel route and winds up getting a 50-yard
well,
gain.
it's not even a wheel route because he wasn't out of the backfield.
Okay,
It's just
okay,
straight fly. It's a straight, it's a stop and go. I'm sorry. It's a
Just ran
stop and
right
go.
by
And
him.
yet, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Man, oh man, what a pass and catch. That's a I mean, he hits him in stride.
That's
It's a
pass
great
interference.
over the
Where's
shoulder
the
catch
flag?
there by James Cook.
Where's the flag? Oh my God, that's pass interference. Please.
I'm sorry. On that third and you cannot
Go
be
ahead, wave it off like you made a great play, 22. You pass interfered, you're down by 14 points, and anytime they need to, they can just dial up a fly pattern and beat you.
I don't know.
Look at the stats on this kid. He's been great today.
He's been fantastic. And I've told you, I said, I think he was the biggest link or he was the biggest weakness.
How is that not pass interference?
I don't know.
What's the
I thought it
official
was.
looking at? I mean, holding something.
He's been fantastic tonight. There's no doubt about it. Jeez. 2nd and 10 right now. Georgia knocking on the door. They've got they missed first tackle, but Michigan's able to go ahead and wrap them up. It's going to be third and 11, grumpy old man, for Georgia in the red zone. They ideally want to come away with a touchdown here. They do not want to have to settle for another field goal. And they're also going to leave, in all likelihood, Michigan about 4 minutes on the clock if they do not convert this third down. 4 minutes is plenty of times to still, run the offense the way you'd like to and still mix the pass in with the run.
4 should have cut that play inside. I mean, there were 3 guys outside, and he decided, I'm going to even push it out further. I'm not a big fan of those running right along the line of scrimmage when you're that close to the end zone either.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's a stop there. It is going to be 4th and 6. In all likelihood, Georgia's going to be kicking another field goal. They're going to maintain this 7th. They're going to go back to a 17-point lead. It's going to be about 4 minutes, a little less than 4 minutes for the Michigan offense to move down the field and come away with points or a touchdown.
Okay.
We talked about
Is it 99 Davis?
Yes.
Okay.
He's and I look at him, I just think to myself, this guy's so damn big.
Maybe they should send him out for a
honestly. In reality, he probably wants to lose a few pounds before the league. He probably wants to get in shape and lose a bit of weight. But he's just a huge human.
Yeah, it's 20-3 now. But if he seriously, if he lost 15 pounds, he might be one of the top 10 interior defensive linemen in the NFL next year.
You're saying as a rookie, a top 10 defensive tackle?
He's that talented. He's been that good this year.
Jeez. Okay.
Now,
I will say, I'll taper a little bit of expectations for those out there. Sometimes when you play with a really, really good unit, it makes it easier for individuals to shine, right? You've got Kobe. You've got Kobe, who looks fantastic. You've got Nolan Smith, who looks fantastic. You've got a lot of different players on that defense that look fantastic, which makes Davis look even better. I'm not saying he's not good and talented. I'm just saying for a rookie to walk in as a defensive tackle and be, one of the top 10 defensive tackles in the league.
Well, I'm just saying
off the expectations, man.
I'm just saying that the game has changed. You don't see guys like that on the field anymore. Guys who are that big, like a Vita Vea type. You don't see a whole lot of them in the league.
Or
Aaron Donald is a defensive tackle, but is he really a defensive tackle?
Yes.
Well, no, I think he's.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay, but he's not. He can't play the nose. He can't play the nose.
Okay, he's a 3 tech. It's a D tackle.
Yeah, okay. I'm talking about a guy who's like a 1 technique, like he's going to be.
Okay, well, they're both D tackles. 1 and 3s are both D tackles.
Okay.
B Bean says here, did Cincinnati's defeat finally prove that schedule matters?
Here's the thing. I don't think schedule. Here's the thing. Cincinnati's just not very good. All you do is watch them play to know they're not very good. I could care less that they won 13 straight games in the regular season. They played in a piss poor conference. They played Houston a couple of close games, and Houston barely beat Auburn, who was like the number 11 team in the SEC in the bowl game. I mean, they just don't match up. Like I said, when everyone said, UCF should be in the Final Four. No, I don't care that they're undefeated. They play shitty teams, and it's easier to beat shitty teams.
I would have been fine with a multitude of different teams over Cincinnati. I would have taken a one-loss Notre Dame over Cincinnati. I would have taken a two-loss Baylor over Cincinnati. It might ruffle feathers, but I mean, I would take Baylor over, and I don't think Baylor's fantastic. I think no matter who Alabama was playing, whether it was Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Baylor, Ohio State, whoever you want to throw out there, I think Alabama comes away with that win this afternoon. I think they're really damn good.
Yeah, Alabama's really good. I mean, you don't go to the Final Four every single year and win how many national championships without being a good team and a good program. They're a great program.
John
They know
M.
how to run it there.
John M. saying Georgia can't beat Bama because it's Saban's defense that Kirby Smart uses. Saban knows how to beat his defense.
The only thing I'm saying is that Alabama had a bunch of injuries in the defensive backfield, which could help Georgia. And they also had some injuries to their offensive line today. And that could be an equalizer for Georgia. And I think Georgia definitely is going to play with a chip on their shoulder.
I think so too.
Killed a month ago.
I think so as well.
Look at this. 2021 Joe Moore Award, Michigan, the best offensive line. They don't look it tonight.
No. Yeah, they definitely not so
The
far.
7 blocks of granite, they're not.
Louis here saying college football is much more complicated than is it in the past, and there's better technology for the players now too.
True. That's why coaching was more important back in the day. There's a lot more than just the head coach now.
Gets stopped up. Haskins,
the
hole is muddled up. The hole's muddled up, and Haskins tries to find a little bit of daylight. He only gains about 1 yard. I mean, right now for Michigan, it's the clock that you want to say, all right, we got to get some movement, but we also have to do so in a time-efficient manner because we still want to have to go to completely passing every single down and making ourselves one-dimensional offensively. They've been getting pressure in Michigan and McNamara's face all evening. So you don't want to have to say we're going to have to solely dedicate to the pass. You want to be able to still keep them honest on this last drive.
Nothing. Too much team speed on defense. Period. Too much team speed on defense.
Yep.
That they have playmakers on defense. They have team speed. Michigan is just average athletically. You can get away with that in the Big Ten. It's a different game in the Big Ten. Nastier weather. You have to be able to run the ball. Different in the SEC. The SEC is more like pro teams, if you know what I mean, where you got the Wild West show, the Big 12 and the Pac-12, and the ground and pound game of the Big 10. But the SEC is more like the pro game.
Look at this. They sent, was that a 7-man blitz?
Ugh.
They sent at least 6. Maybe it was a 6-man blitz. They only had 6 guys blocking. I don't know. I got to watch that again.
If I'm Georgia, I'm calling a timeout here. I'm calling a timeout. I'm going to get the ball back and go for another score.
They sent 6 guys on the blitz, and I mean, you just see that Michigan 1-for-1 is just overmatched.
And Georgia did call a timeout about 7 seconds too late, but they did call one.
Well, they still have enough time to move the ball downfield, I think, if you're sitting in Georgia's shoes.
I know, but you got to call that timeout immediately. You don't let 7 seconds run off the clock.
If B Bean says if Cincinnati,
They put it back up when I said they should call it. I guess they gave it to him at that time.
Well, fantastic. B Bean here saying if Cincinnati's undefeated next year, they should play in the college football playoffs again. Correct?
Are they in the playoff again?
Well, I'm asking you. Do you think they should be playing in the college football playoffs again?
No, absolutely not. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's how it goes.
B Bean, we actually met doing an Islanders podcast many years ago when we've been this is a podcast for general sports that we started up probably about, I don't know, Grump, a few months ago. We started kind of covering, and we do it on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk all things sports. But anytime there's a big game on, we usually go live during the game and have a fantastic time. I'll be honest, that was almost blocked.
Yes, it was.
And they're in good field position. You're starting out at your own 31-yard line here for Georgia. You've got 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. You've got 1 timeout still left on the board. You're in good shape if you want to move down the field for another opportunity. if
He
I
could have
watched,
laid out.
oh my God.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's devil's advocate, right? If you go ahead and lay out and you hit the kicker, he gets 15 yards.
He
So
didn't want to take the chance of drawing a penalty and missing the kick. Smart play. Yes, he could have, and he's a little upset with himself. But you know what? You're up big in this game. The last thing you want to do is give Michigan any momentum. A smart play by that kid.
and that's what coach is saying too. We have a chance to put up more points on the board. Let's say you inadvertently hit them without getting contact with ball, and you get a roughing the kicker. They get 15 yards and a first down. We're up right now by 17 points. We've got the
I'm going to
ball.
tell you what, Georgia's just way too physical for Michigan right now. Way too physical. That wide number 6, is he a wide receiver, right? Or is he a running back?
McIntosh is a running back.
Okay, but here's the thing. He pushed 7 yards after initial contact.
Well, it's the offensive line that's pushing him, but he didn't stop moving his feet.
But yeah, he's pushing him back all by himself at first. Let's give the kid some credit. Stop giving the offensive line some credit.
I'm giving the O-line credit, the unsung heroes, grumpy old man.
Oh, that's pass interference. Where's the flag?
They're not going to call that. They want to. If you haven't noticed, they want to keep their. Oh wow, there has not been a single drive where Georgia has not come away with points. Touchdown, field goal.
And that's pass interference. That's 2 of them that should have been called.
I don't know, but I like these guys. Louis says definitely subbing. Appreciate it, Louis. Thanks, appreciate that. And then so far, this game is kind of mirroring Bama and Cincinnati, even if they score.
Yeah, true, very true. I just thought you looked at Alabama, and but just one thing about B Bean's comment, we also do. Oh my God! There's your game.
What? I'm sorry. Why the hell are you stopping, starting to stare in the backfield? You see your freaking wideout continuing to run. What the hell are you doing there, Gary? Vincent Gary. I mean, that's a senior Vincent Gary. Just gets caught staring. Gray. I'm sorry. Oh Jesus, man.
He might want to change his name to Gary after that play.
He's looking down. Yeah. What the? If you're Jim Harbaugh,
he's probably saying we suck.
What's the halftime speech for Jim Harbaugh? You're going to be going into half, down 24 points? What's the speech?
The speech is, you know what? You can't get it all back on one play. Let's just play solid the rest of the way. I mean, you're going to lose.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest.
Oh, dude, look at that fan. Look at the fans. That's the worst. I feel the worst for the fans who probably traveled. Maybe this was like a Christmas gift. They always wanted to see their team in the college football playoffs in Michigan. They traveled halfway across the country. Oh, Michigan's
finally just throws it up for grabs.
What the hell was he doing? I'm sorry. I don't understand. What?
It's like, okay, you got him. You got him tied up. Now you're looking. You stop running as you look back. As he's looking back, he stops running. You got to keep running when you look back.
It's a stop and go. He stays with them as he continues the go portion of the stop and go. And then he just stops for whatever reason as he's like, oh, I feel like he's closer to me. I'm in good range. And he's just looking for the ball. The ball's already in the air. It just sails right over the top for the completion of the touchdown. Yikes, man. Yikes. I'm sorry. That's just poor. That's poor technique. And that's, again, I feel bad for him because that's a mistake that I'm sure he probably never makes. And this is on the biggest stage, on national TV all over the place. He looks about as foolish as humanly possible. Look at Bennett, 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's had a fantastic evening. The entire Georgia team's had a fantastic evening.
This is how Georgia's played all year long. With the exception of that Alabama game in the SEC championship, this is how they played all year long.
Man. And then B Bean said, Grumpy, Bear Bryant also had no scholarship limits, so he hoarded players to keep him from other teams. There's no
but they weren't. But they didn't have the scouting of the high school players like they have now. Nothing like that. You got guys from your area. You weren't getting guys from California and Florida. Maybe Alabama got in Florida, but they were recruiting from a certain limited circle. Most of the players stayed home way back in the day. But to B Bean's comment, we also do an Islander podcast, New York Islander podcast called Islanders Never Say Die, which is on Saturdays and Wednesdays at 8 o'clock.
Okay, well, Louis here is saying, most of those defensive ends and outside linebackers are five-star players for Georgia, and 99 Jordan Davis is ridiculous. Huge human being. Holy shit! I look away for a second.
Why is he running backwards?
He
lost 15 yards because he's a me guy. 11, stop being a me guy. No reason for you to score a touchdown there. You made the interception. Your team could score again before half. You just cost your team 15 yards. This kid, I don't care what he does. He just cost his team 15 yards because it had to be all about him. That's pass interference too. Without a doubt, that's pass interference. Look at him. I mean, he's riding them all the way down. That's pass.
I'll be honest with you.
And he was out of bounds too.
The referees, they're saying he reestablished himself, I guess.
Did he? Yes, he
reestablished himself.
That's close. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
He reestablished himself. But I tell you, the referees are not going to call anything. And I mean, it's a Jesus. Yeah, they don't want to call anything. I think that was pass interference, but
what's Mr. Muscles? What does Mr. Muscles say?
They said the previous play is going to further review.
They're going to take it away.
They're saying the pass interference.
All right, this kid's an imbecile.
They all do that, dude.
Then you know what? They're all imbeciles.
Stop.
I'm rooting for Alabama.
Grom preaching the truth again. I love this channel, says Louis. Well, we appreciate it, Louis. And then Tony Cheese says, "Fool me once, shame on you." Or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again.
You can't get fooled again.
That's
a great old Who song.
Oh, this is what George Bush
won't
Jr.
get fooled again.
I think the fact that he bobbled the ball actually helped him because he reestablished his possession in bounds.
Yeah, I know that's close. They're going to find a way to overturn that, and probably just because he put on those Road Warrior shoulder pads. A lame imitation of the Road Warrior shoulder pads.
You know what, dude? I've got no problem with them. You think about it. It all started with Mark Reich. He originally introduced the turnover chain at the University of Miami. He was the one who started it all. And every team does something different. They've got the shoulder pads. Pittsburgh they dunk into the basketball hoop. They all do something
different.
When
does Pittsburgh ever win anything?
When they turn over the ball. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? Are you listening? It's when they turn over the football, Grump.
When do they ever get to use that? It's probably all rusty.
Yeah.
The chain needs a little grease.
They did have that fumble recovery for 6 yesterday. What are they trying to say? The helmet to helmet? Oh, is that that's what they're reviewing?
Oh, you can't. I'm sorry. Here he is. Let's see him run backwards.
Okay. I was about to say I didn't know what they're talking about.
You can't call that. He's just trying to make a block. If this jerk just didn't insist on running backwards,
they're going to say he lowers the crown of the helmet, and they're going to say that's
no. You can't call that.
They're probably going to back him up another 15. I just hope they don't suspend the kid. The only positive light is if they suspend the Georgia Bulldogs, Smith. He technically will be eligible to play first quarter of the game against Alabama. So even if he gets thrown out of the game, targeting. Yep, they called it.
That's terrible. That's a terrible call. That's a terrible call, Mr. Muscles. Yeah, Mr. Muscles, you got your head up your ass. You got to be kidding me. He's just trying to make a block. That's a terrible call. That's an absolutely terrible call.
He's been disqualified. He was ejected from the game. The only positive light about this, guys, is that he will be available for the first quarter against Alabama. If he would have waited and that would have been done in the third quarter, he would have not been able to return until the second half of the game against Alabama. But he'll be eligible to play first series against Alabama. So I guess that's the positive light, because a bad call like that against Christopher Smith, if that was, I mean, it by letter of the law, technically it's a penalty. Yeah, agree with it or not.
If Showboat just would have went down, he wouldn't have lost his player. Showboat cost them a player for the championship game.
John M. saying F Bama, Grump.
I'm not rooting for Bama. I will be rooting for Georgia. I just hate whenever you see them showboat like that. I hate that. I just hate showboating, period. Looks like everybody's bailed out of the stadium on the Michigan side.
Oh, no. That's one of those games you don't leave early, even if your team's getting their ass
kicked. Looks like they got back on the bus up to Ann Arbor. Here's the thing. You know, the whole state of Ohio was happy tonight.
Oh, dude, they're going to be talking so much shit on social media.
Yep. Yeah, number 12 is going, yeah.
McNamara's saying shit. Here's
the thing. That's pass interference, too. That was pass interference.
Yeah. No, it was. I don't disagree. Grumpy.
Well, let's see if Georgia can score again. They could have had the ball around the 50.
Well, they're still going to have a good chance to move the ball downfield. They still have that timeout left. Oh, they're running the football. Okay.
Oh my God.
And think about this. They're
It's
running the ball, and that power play picks up about another 7 or 8 yards on the carry. I mean, they're just moving the ball well, and there's no sense of urgency right now here for Georgia. They very easily could say, "Hey, we're gonna run this. Hurry up." I mean, they're just taking their sweet time. They said, "We're more than happy to go into half with a 24-point lead."
This reminds me of the Oklahoma-Oregon game from earlier in the week. Very
Well,
similar.
well, I would say this is more of a blowout than that game,
I'm
Grump.
going for a bomb here. I'm not even running the ball. I'm going for a bomb.
They're
I'm
happy going into halftime up 24.
See, I'm sorry. I mean, the game is over, but I really want to step on them a little bit. So that's it. It's over. We can play our backups in the second half.
Okay.
Ugh.
John M. saying here, Bear Bryant wouldn't let Auburn have a home game in the Iron Bowl for decades. Not until the late 80s did Auburn play Alabama at home. I didn't know that.
Now that's power as a head coach
Yeah.
with that hat.
Well, hey, they pick up a first down. I'll be honest with you. They honestly could have probably put up more points, whether in a field goal or a touchdown. Just they're moving the ball so easily. And now all of a sudden, what, Kirby Smart? Now all of a sudden you want to have them spike the football or run another play?
Who's your offensive coordinator?
No, this is Kirby Smart. The head coach tells the offensive coordinator, "Hey, we're going to go for it. Hey, we're not." I don't get that. It's not a big deal. They're up to 24, but the way he's acting on the sideline, it sounds like they didn't have the open line of communication of what the plan of attack was before going into half.
Do you want to know why they lose to Alabama? It's shit like that. Yeah, you yell at him all you want, shithead. You should have not been running plays, 3 running plays.
Well, even if you were calling running plays, having a little bit of an up-tempo offense during that time period would be fine. Yeah. I'll tell you, Kirby Smart.
It's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault. Don't blame the kid. That's
he's
coaching.
Frustrated with the way they worked the clock. They had a timeout and they didn't even take it. That's exactly what he's saying. He's frustrated with the way they worked the clock. They had a timeout left and you didn't even bother taking it. So, yeah, you should maybe look a little bit within. It's not a great job on your side. Ooh,
I wonder
to be honest with you, it's got to be so somber what Jim Harbaugh saying. Yeah. That was quick. One question. Hey,
yeah.
What positives can you take away from this half?
None. What can you work on in the second half? Everything.
Thanks so much.
Do you have a chance to win? No.
Oh, good gracious.
Yeah, Kirby Smart. I wonder what he's saying because you know what? I'm going to listen to what he's saying. I have to say, I have to listen.
Do not listen, Grump, because they pick up on that and they'll kick the stream off. So don't
if
listen.
I put myself on mute, they ain't going to hear shit.
Jesus, who cares, Grump? He's already off. You don't have to listen to what Kirby Smart says.
I have the ability to rewind and listen. I'm interested. I'm interested what the coaches say.
I will tell you this. Well, as you do that, I'll go ahead and speak. I'll monologue for a bit. I mean, Georgia has looked unbelievably impressive. You talk about a huge bounce. You talk about a bounce back game in a huge way after a disappointing loss they had against Alabama. This has been outstanding performance. I mean, Stetson Bennett kind of gets chewed out at the end of half by Kirby Smart. I just think there was a lack of communication, and it's not like Bennett's dialing up the play calls. And when you're running 3 downs in a row and you're taking a great sweet time, I would like to think the offensive coordinator and the quarterback had a discussion about how they were going to proceed with that last drive before half. And, they came out with the timeout on board, but they have looked fantastic. Bennett's looked fantastic this evening. The defensive and offensive line have looked hulking out here on the field, just controlling the line of scrimmage.
Okay, let me give you a quick recap of what both coaches said because it's interesting. They said, Coach, what does your team have to do to get back in this game? And he's like, well, on offense, we have to block better. And we have to play better. On defense, we have to be able to stop them moving the ball. And then Kirby Smart, they asked him, what did you say to your quarterback? Well, we wanted to run up tempo there, maybe get another field goal before the half. Well, I'm going to say, why the hell are you doing running plays? 3 running plays with 58 seconds. You just should have come out throwing the ball. Don't blame the kid. It's the offensive play calling there. You're going to run the ball 3 times with 58 seconds left and expect to get points when you're at your own 35? Get your head. That's why you lose to Alabama every year, Kirby Smart. That's why you lose. Because you have no concept. If you want to hurry up, you have to throw the ball. You can't just be running the ball into the line. dumbass. Ridiculous.
So now let me ask you, how did Harbaugh sound? Did he sound defeated, Grump?
Yeah. Yeah. He knows.
He knows.
He knows.
Rick C saying Cincinnati could beat Michigan.
No, they couldn't. No, they couldn't.
I'm not so sure about that.
Cincinnati absolutely sucks.
Yeah,
Cincinnati
Cincinnati's bad.
sucks.
Michigan has looked. I think this is a combination of a few things, right? Michigan has played poorly this afternoon. They've laid a lot of. I think they've made a few mental mistakes, and again, offensive coordinator has made a few mistakes on that side. You look at the mental mistakes, even technique wise, defensive backs have made where they're just not keeping stride for stride with Georgia receivers on a stop and go after their stride for stride. He just slows up for whatever reason. And on top of them just being a much more talented team than Michigan. You've got not only the talent in favor of Georgia, you've got mental mistakes and mental errors, as well as poor play calling all on Michigan's side. It's just an impossible mountain to climb.
I don't think it's necessarily the play calling for Michigan. It's the fact that they're not athletically good enough to match up with Georgia. They're just not. That's what the whole thing's about. They're not athletic enough on the outside, or on the offensively, they're not talented enough as well. They don't have the speed. Look at Georgia's team speed on defense. That's a great equalizer.
It's been unbelievable. They move so well laterally. They cover ground and they cover open space, and they get to those spots so quickly. I think that's you talk. Their defense is good, but I wasn't expecting to be this good.
They're showing stats for the first half comparison. Points, of course, we know 27-3. Yards, 330 for Georgia, 101 for Michigan, 13 first downs to 6, and yards per play.
You're going to have to slow down because now you're about like 30 or 40 seconds ahead of me again.
I realize that. I'm just reading this off to you. I realize I'm at the tie back in with you.
Thank you.
Yards per play, 9.2 for Georgia, 4 for Michigan. That's what we call is a good old ass kicking. That's what we call
They're
it.
averaging 10 yards a play.
9.2, not 10.
I'm just going to round out to 10. They're averaging about 10 yards a play. Yikes, man.
Yeah, it is what it
is. That's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and it started from the first drive. I mean, as soon as the first ball was kicked, as soon as the first snap of the ball, I mean, they've just been dominant in every facet.
Right? And you said I was mistaken saying the game was over after the first drive.
I said you might want to halt the brakes a bit.
Pump the brakes, Grumpy. You don't know what you're talking about. You know nothing.
Oh, I didn't say that. I said pump the brakes, though. I will. Oh, man. Desmond Howard. Ooh, how do you think he's feeling?
Oh, pretty bad. You think they could use you out there today? Actually, he's about as athletic now as most of the players on Michigan who are playing today.
Oh, God. You guys.
And he's what? He's got to be in his 40s.
John M. saying it looks like another all-8 SEC final. Yeah.
Clemson, every once in a while, Ohio State got in the game. Clemson, Alabama, that's what it usually is. The teams that pay the best have the best teams, and they usually make those games.
The recruiting classes, and now let's shift gears here a bit to recruiting classes. Or
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Desmond Howard. He's defeated. It looks like it looks like somebody beat his dog.
Oh, stop! They hit Fido, and there's nothing he could do about it. He's all
slumpy shouldered.
Oh, God gracious!
What can your team do, Desmond? I don't know.
Stop, Grumpy. But I mean, you talk about recruiting. The SEC just recruits better than any other conference in all of football consistently. Even the teams that aren't great, mediocre teams still are a fantastic job recruiting in the SEC. And
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M has the best right now. Again, there's still time left this year because I think it's like the second week of February is technically the last official signing day because they changed. It used to always be in the mid-February. Then they had the early signing period in like mid-December, and they have the normal signing period in February.
Yeah. Like I said, Texas A&M looking mighty good.
Yes.
Mighty good recruiting-wise.
Yep. Number one right now recruiting class in the nation.
Jimbo Fisher is a really great recruiter. I mean, he always has been. Like I said, I was rooting for Michigan in this game. I usually root for the underdog, particularly if I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm an Oklahoma fan from way back. So for me, here's that kid wearing his Mr. Shoulder guards, Mr. Shoulder pads.
Okay, Grumpy, finish up your statement, man, please.
So for me, rooting for Michigan, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I hate to say it, Michigan fans, just not going to happen this year.
Gabriel saying, how good is Michigan's defense?
I'm not going to say they're not good. They're not athletic enough to keep up with Georgia. And here's the thing, if they played Alabama, they wouldn't have been athletic enough to keep up with them either. They lack athleticism, particularly on the back end. That's their weak spot, is on the backs, and the defensive backs are not very athletic. They have a good pass rush, not super stout on the interior, but they have a good pass rush. But they're really exposed in the back end.
I will say this too about Michigan's defense. I think their defense is better than what you've seen displayed out here today. They're not fantastic. I think it's better than what you've seen on display today. And you look at when they played Ohio State. Ohio State, I mean, it was a perfect storm. Everything went well for Michigan that game. They were dialed in, home game as well, in the big house. And, they were just finally ready to win. And they took the step forward. They were able to control the line of scrimmage on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. That's one of the strongest suit, the defensive line for Michigan. They talk about, hey, they've got good defensive back play. They've got good safety play. A lot of that is because Hutchinson's able to get pressure on quarterbacks, and he's able to make them throw balls and make poor decisions. And today, we haven't seen a lot of pressure from Hutchinson in the face of Bennett. So you haven't seen a lot of pressure for Stenson Bennett in his face. So he's had a lot of time to sit back there in a pocket, find open receivers, and they've been able to really benefit from that.
When you can run the ball on a team, it means that you have to remember your run responsibilities first. Because if you're gashed on the run, you're not going to be able to rush the pass. They don't even need to throw the ball, honestly. If you think about Georgia doesn't need to throw the ball. They can run it all they want. But it takes a little steam out of you. Stopping the run takes steam out of defensive linemen. Just does. And the fact that now
okay, let me ask you this. You talked about how running the ball at will could really take a lot of steam out of a team. How many times do you think Georgia ran the ball in the first half?
10, 12.
13 times.
There you go.
22 passing attempts, and or 23 if you include the trick pass.
And what did I say that they should have done right from Jump Street? What did I say Georgia should do? They're a run first team, but what did they say? What did I say that they should do coming out of the gate?
Pass the ball on the first down.
They
ran a first down.
Yeah, but throw the ball. Go against trend. And that's what Georgia's done today. And here's the thing. They saw that we can just throw the ball anytime we want. We can run the ball anytime we want. How many yards did they have rushing? Do you have that information?
Total rushing yards, Grump, it looks like 78.
So they're averaging like over 6.5 yards a rush, approximately, right?
And again, remember one of those the quarterback scramble or the quarterback scramble there by Bennett got him some yards.
Still, that's a pretty good average.
Yeah,
running the ball
for certain it is. I mean, you got 34 yards passing too. They've had a fantastic first half. They've played really, really solid football, offensive and defensively. I mean, I'm not saying you put it, a neutral or anything like that in the second half, but I mean, you've thoroughly dominated. You come away with more points and you score on your next drive. I mean, it pretty much is all she wrote. Doesn't matter what Michigan can score every single damn drive. If you score just once in the second half, you're still coming away with the victory.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what Michigan does. Georgia can just coast this game out very easily. They can just coast this game out.
Their defense, Michigan's defense, looks about as good as Florida's. Oh God,
no, their defense is better than Florida's. Their defense better than Florida's.
B Bean says, "What other conference can catch up to the SEC?
Got to be able to recruit better, get better head coaches. I mean, it's tough.
It's all about pay.
Well, and here's the thing. They're the conference that plays the most pro-style offense in college football. It's going to make them really, really appealing to, to prospects kids who want to go to the league, right? So where are you going to go? I'm not saying no one's going to want to go to the Pac-12 or the ACC or, the Big Ten. But if you're somebody who wants to go to the NFL, you're going to look at teams where they prepare you best. Nick Saban, former NFL head coach. Doug Marrone is defensive coach for Alabama. Coached the Jacksonville Jaguars to an AFC championship game, 4 years ago. Bill O'Brien, former head coach of the Houston Texans, offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, former head coach of Penn State. These are assistant coaches for Alabama. Why wouldn't you want to go there?
So a lot again, like when you've got Nick Saban, he's different. It feels cliche to say he's different. That being said, you'll see sometimes coaches take a pit stop. Lane Kiffin did the same thing. He took a pit stop. He struggled as a head coach. I mean, he wasn't Bill O'Brien was, towards the end with Houston, he's kind of the reason for their the state where they are in now. Obviously with Deshaun Watson just exacerbated the issue, but he was one of the reasons why they kind of fell off the face of the earth, trading away DeAndre Hopkins essentially for David Johnson, and a second round pick was yikes bad. But right, what do you do when you need to revamp the image a bit? Go find yourself in a coordinator position with Nick Saban. And Bill O'Brien probably will leave for a head coaching position, maybe if not this, maybe next offseason. Again, I'm not sure if he said, hey, I want to stay here as an offensive coordinator forever. I don't imagine that being his end game. I'm sure he wants to be a head coach again of another college program.
Rumor is, I heard that he wants to bide his time and eventually take over for Belichick in New England.
Oh wow.
That's what I've heard. And he's a favorite. Remember, he's a favorite of the organization, of the Patriot organization. But here's the thing. When's Belichick going to leave? He's 67, 68. How many years has he got left? I don't know. Seems like they've had a resurgence this year. Good for them. But how many years can you do that? And, of course, here's the thing. There's no way that Robert Kraft is going to hire Steve Belichick to be the head man. I think there'd be an uproar for that. The kid has to learn how to cut his hair, first of all. Can't wear a freaking mullet and expect to be a head coach.
Don't you love that little tongue thing he did?
Oh, yeah. Very good at that.
Oh, man, dude. Steve Belichick. That's one thing I hadn't thought of in quite some time, Grump. Hold on a sec. I'll get this pulled up for you.
If you're Gerard Mayo, how do you feel? Gerard Mayo has been a really good coach, right? Think about it. He did things the right way in New England. He comes in, he's the de facto GM, and all of a sudden, Steve Belichick's getting all the credit. He's the play caller now. If you're Gerard Mayo, if I'm looking to go somewhere else. I'm not playing second banana to Bill's kid.
I tell you, oh man, it's just the internet's having a difficult time up. Just look at that son of a gun. I could not when he was doing that tongue thing. I could not get over that grumpy old man. He looks like a fool. The haircut, it just
with the mullet. Get rid of the mullet, kid. You're 30 years old, 30 something years old. Get rid of the mullet.
I tell you,
I could do that. As a matter of fact,
I'm not even seeing you do that because I've got my full screen pulled up. I don't want to see.
I could grow my hair like that. I don't have much on the top, but neither does he. But I can grow it really long in the back, and even on my back. I think I can do that.
Oh God. Louis says he breaks it down simple. Recruit better. More teams are getting better classes. The SEC usually has 13 or 14 in the top 35 in recruiting. Yeah.
And why do players want to go there? They play a pro style system. You're going to be on TV every week. That helps.
You play against a top competition week in and week out. When you play against top competition, it makes you better prepared for generally speaking, makes you better prepared for the NFL game.
Yes.
So, it's one of those things where it's always the rich get richer. And for some of those organizations, the ones that could, to stand a chance, it's the organizations that could pay the most. The organization has enough backing from alumni or supporters to where they can get name, image, and likeness deals that are going to be comparable to what you're seeing at Alabama or what you're seeing at Auburn or what you're seeing at Georgia and what you're seeing at a plethora of those different SEC schools.
But what are you seeing, right? You're seeing the good teams. The conferences want to get bigger and bigger. I think you're going to see a time where they have maybe 4 conferences. They're going to have a whole lot of teams in like 4 conferences, maybe 5. but that's going to be it. You're going to see them eat up all the little, and you've seen it. It all started in the ACC in college basketball 20 some odd years ago when they devoured teams from the Big East, Syracuse and Pittsburgh and whoever. Then Notre Dame joined. That's what started. And why did they do it? Why did they do it? Why do conferences do that? Money. It's always about money. Just when they tell you it's not about money, it's about money. It's always about money.
Grump,
the bigger the conference, the bigger TV deals you get, the more money for the schools.
We're at halftime, Grumpy. So you know what time that is?
Yes, I do.
What time is it, Grump?
It's halftime. It's read your ad and try not to mess it up like you usually do.
Yes.
The pressure's on.
Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. Hockey fans, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a no-brainer offer that will make you a winner once a single shot gets past the goalie. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL team and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. The NHL got rid of ties in 2005, so you know somebody is going to light the lamp. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, no worries. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Hockey Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and throw down $1 on any NHL game and win 100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. That's promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. You must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. A minimum of a $5 deposit and a $1 wager is required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Grump?
Yes.
What the hell are you doing?
I had a couple of potato chips while you were
what the fuck
going on about. I was hungry, man.
Jesus Christ. What do you mean you're hungry? This game has built up your appetite?
No, it's been quite a while. I haven't eaten since like 3 o'clock this afternoon.
You not eat dinner?
No, I did not eat dinner yet. Probably not going to have dinner today because it's too late. So I'm going to load up on some carbs, which I shouldn't be doing either. But, you know, hey, I had to do something.
Good gracious. John M saying, Happy New Year, TJ and Grump. Well, Happy New Year, John.
Yes.
And then B Bean says, remember, Coach Prime. He signed here the number 1 player recently. That's right. I tell you, Deion Sanders,
I wonder what his selling point was.
I'm sure his selling point was this. And with the portal, this could be a blessing and a curse. Because I don't know, I know there were rumors originally that he got was like 1 million or 1.5 million on his name, image, and likeness to sign with Jackson State. I know that Deion disputed that, and so did Barstool Sports, I believe, as well. I think that people were jumping to conclusions on that. I think it came out to be fake. But I mean, I think Deion said, hey, you want to grow the brand? You're the number 1 corner in the nation. You're the number 1 recruit in the nation. I'm the best corner to ever play the game. I'm a fantastic coach. Come here with me. Be here and be successful for a few years. And you've got the ability, even if things don't work out here, you could just transfer and sign somewhere else the same exact year. If, let's say, freshman year doesn't go well, you have the ability to leave immediately thereafter. Give me a chance. Let me go ahead and show you what it's like to be coached by the best corner in the history of the game. I think you have that ability.
He's not the greatest corner in the history of the game.
Deion.
He never made a tackle his whole career. He never made a tackle.
Oh, Night Train Lane was a better corner than Deion Sanders.
If you can't tackle, you're not the best corner in the game. I'll take Darrelle Revis over him. Darrelle Revis could tackle as well. Deion Sanders could never tackle. And I'm not saying that he wasn't a great cornerback, but you know, just because he made flash plays, and he was a shutdown corner for certain, but he didn't tackle anyone. You never saw him supporting the run. There's a lot of other cornerbacks who were all-around corners. He's certainly one of the greatest cover corners the league's ever seen, without a doubt. But overall corner, no.
Okay. So that's the big sticking point. You don't think that kid thinks that Deion's the best corner to ever play?
Yeah. Anyway, you got to be able to play the whole freaking position. It's not just covering a guy.
John M saying he's got to go eat dinner with his fiance, but he'll see us on the Islanders Never Say
Now,
Die
I
podcast.
don't want to get on John too much, but he's spelling finance.
I know
So
he meant fiance.
I think he did also.
Well, you're hiccuping, Grump, because you just shoveled a whole bunch of chips down your mouth. Look at
That's
you,
true.
Grumpy.
That's exactly right. You're right. I did.
Jeremy F saying, Happy New Year, TJ and Grump. We need the Georgia coach, Kirby Smart, talking to Josh Bailey. Josh Bailey would piss himself if
That's
Kirby
right.
Smart was talking to him.
He would have rolled up in a ball. Let me go to my happy place, Suckville.
Neo Thomas there saying Ohio State. Just like you mentioned it, I tell you, there's going to be those Ohio State fans that can't wait to jump on social media and just remind those Michigan fans, hey, boys, how's it feel? No national championship for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the second half has actually kicked off, Grumpy. Most games with 0 touchdowns allowed in the first half. Georgia's just broken a single season, or they've had the most games. Nice tackle, Davis. They've got the most games with no touchdowns allowed in the first half since 2004 out of any team in college football.
Think about how the game has changed. Think about how the game has changed in the last 20 years.
Yeah. You think about, team score. Boatloads of touchdowns in today's game. Much more higher scoring games you see in college football, like college basketball games almost, with how many points teams score. But you've got Michigan has got the ball. It's 2nd and 10. He hits the wide receiver out in the flats with a quick pass. Haskins is able to bring it in. It's going to be 3rd. Did they give him a first down? Okay, they gave him a first down. Ooh, Ollie Rowe.
Let me know when she goes off the screen.
Are you way ahead of me?
No, I'm behind you, but I want to make sure we're tied up.
Okay. She just went off the screen.
Okay, just let me know what the time on the clock is.
14 minutes and 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay.
All righty. Michigan looks like they're starting to move.
Oh my God.
I'm just telling you, the pressure gets and this is the thing. The defensive line for Georgia is just way too overbearing. They're way too physical, way too fast. They've got way too much power. This Michigan offensive line is supposed to be the best offensive line in all of college football. What you're seeing right here is this offensive line is if they're unable to establish the run game against teams, and let's say they run across a more physical, stronger, more athletic defensive line, you can't establish the run game, they're not fantastic pass blockers when you have to rely upon passing the football. I think you're going to see a lot of sacks for Georgia in this half.
Who dropped that one? Number 2. Got to catch it. Got to catch it, kid. Now it's 3rd and see you next year for Michigan.
That's Blake Corum, running back for Michigan.
Look at this Marty Smith. Dude, what does he think? He's like a Hershey's Kiss with that hairdo?
I'll tell you, dude, you got to change the shirt, man. That button-up's got to be something different. Yikes. Maybe they got him a neutral zone infraction.
No, he didn't. They didn't.
Said maybe. McNamara completes the pass.
Okay, maybe they did get him.
Infraction. And Eric All catches the football.
Yeah.
Michigan's starting to try to show some signs of life here in this second half.
Yeah, maybe
we're not going to go down without a fight.
Maybe if you would have caught that pass in the first quarter on 4th down. I don't like this official, by the way. I don't know if it's his glasses, the shirt.
It looks like he's wearing a corset.
Yeah.
Or like wearing one of those slimming shirts around his midsection. Oh, good gracious. Well, they've got the ball at midfield. Michigan, they've got a power. They kick it to the outside. Haskins gets the outside. What's that?
That's Hassan, right?
Hassan Haskins. That's correct. Haskins gets the outside edge. He's able to pick up a first down. Michigan looks like this has probably been the most competent they have looked offensively all game. I mean, you talk about it's not like it's been as a result of a big play. It looks like they're moving the ball in chunks every single time they've got it.
Number 7 loss contained. Why are they jumping? Why are you doing that?
You are way far ahead of me, brother.
No, I'm not. We're spot on.
Okay. Now they had the run right up the middle. Okay, maybe we are up to date. Yeah, they got the run up the middle. Ooh, they got a little bit of jawing going back and forth between the Georgia D line and the Michigan offensive line.
Well, let's say one thing about Michigan. They came out with a little bit of fight here in the second half to start. Man, I'll tell you what, Georgia's got some big boys on that front line. They
Well,
hit you and they fall on you. You're going to feel it.
I mean, that through block right there, the guard doesn't do a great job setting for the tackle. The tackle's laid off the ball and allows that D tackle for Georgia to get that stop.
Oh,
holy shit. You cannot drop that freaking football.
You
cannot drop that
football.
Catch
the ball. Hit you right in the freaking hands.
Donovan Edwards, the freshman, in a big moment, just drops the ball.
Bad play call, right, DJ? Just a bad.
That's not a bad play call. You got to come up with that catch. You got to come up with that catch.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh is going, why do we recruit this kid? Can we revoke him now?
No.
Or do we have to wait till the end of the game? Can we just put him in the portal?
Donovan
Even if he doesn't want to go?
He's a good running back. That's not a great drop, but I mean, on third down, McNamara 4 for 5, I think, with 30 some odd yards.
To me, you're almost 4 down territory, are you not?
Yes, you're certainly in 4 down territory. That's here's the thing. Why not? Jesus Christ! Michigan has to burn a freaking timeout.
You can't be burning a timeout in the first 5 minutes of the second half.
First drive of the second half, coming out of halftime. First drive coming out of halftime. You're down by 24 points, and you've got to burn a timeout on your first drive. Yikes! I guess it's better than not having the right play call and then having to punt the ball or to get stalled out and not complete on fourth down. Jesus, man, that is yikes.
I mean, I guess they could come away with just a field goal here.
No, you need a freaking touchdown. Man.
Okay,
you need a touch. You've got it's about Mo. It's about momentum, Grump.
Yeah, I understand, but you can't come away with no points. I mean, if you have to get 3, then you're 3 touchdowns. I mean, here's the thing. Let's be honest, right? They're not coming back and winning this game, but if you could get it within 3 scores. Okay, I mean, technically you're within 3 scores now with 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions. Yeah, keep that pipe dream alive. But it's like, still, come on.
Gabriel here saying, I think that teams need to restructure their conferences in general. But other than breaking up the SEC or taking big schools from the West Coast or Texas, I don't think that many can. The Northeast, but you're talking about skipping over other schools to make a super conference.
That's what I think you're going to see is a bunch of super conferences.
Louis, they're saying that's one hell of a mullet. Not quite as good as Theo Vaughn's, though, but doing good. And he also is laughing his ass off. Grumpy.
I used to have a mullet when I was younger. That's when mullets were cool. They're not cool anymore. Mine look better than Steve Belichick's. Way better.
You got any fireworks by you, Grumpy?
Yeah, people have been shooting them off all night.
I'm lucky. I'm fortunate. I haven't heard any fireworks by me. So I'm fortunate on that.
You see these commercials when people torture their animals into doing tricks?
What do you mean torture their animals?
You got a dog walking on his hind legs.
We'll probably get snacks for it.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, making them do tricks for food. It's still doing a trick to get some food. They should be allowed to eat on their own. Just saying.
Louis, they're also saying, well, just remind those Ohio State fans about the 42-24.
Oh, wow.
Hey, man. Or I'm sorry, you said 52-24.
Was it 52? They didn't score
52. I know Michigan beat them 42-27 or something like that, but I don't know. It was a pretty dominant game. Tony Cheese saying, I thought we'd actually go an entire college football game without the mention of go hungry on Sunday daily. McNamara hits. Here we go. They've got another first down. Another catch by Eric All.
Yeah.
The guy you hate so much.
He's like Brock Nelson. He starts putting up stats when the game's over.
Get the hell out of here. Yeah, and what we saying? Yeah, Michigan can't afford all these drop balls. I was about to say they're shooting themselves in the foot on a lot of these items. Oh,
yeah. Well, it's because they don't have a whole lot of talent up top.
And Louis also saying, yeah, Harbaugh knows they've got to get a touchdown on this drive, hence a timeout. I was just saying, I wish they would have had the play call ready. I wish they were prepared. And, I know on that third down was hugely important, but geez. I mean, they got the first down, so the timeout accomplished what it needed to. You just ideally don't want to have to piss away a first down on that or timeout on that first drive.
Ugh. That's a nice little run by Haskins there.
It is
4.5 yards. He looks like he's banged up to me.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When you're getting your ass kicked, the hits hurt a lot more. Yeah, it might be one of those things you don't believe, but when you're getting your ass kicked out there, doesn't matter what game it is, you just feel like, holy crap. It's just like to move, just is like, oh man, we're getting our ass kicked all day. We're down by 24 points. It's been a real physical game. Yikes. Look at this. The rush offense. The last two games, Michigan's had 400 or 508 yards. Jesus, about
My
the whole
God, how do
line.
you let the defense? How do you let the defense moving in a shift throw you off as an offensive lineman? And he wasn't just one guy; it looked like three guys did.
I was about to say it was the guard, the tackle, and the tight end all had a full start on that. Full start. The entire offensive line.
You know what he said?
Michigan.
I love for the referee to say, "False start on all the dumbasses on the left-hand side of the line." Or right-hand
They
side.
also had someone on the right. No, they also had someone on the left and the right hand side. Jesus.
Yeah, everybody was moving.
Maybe just people didn't get a hold of it. Louis also saying, yeah, I meant Alabama against Ohio State, the national championship.
Right. I forgot the score. Like I said, that was so long ago. It was like a year ago. Forgot about that.
I tell you, Grump.
Yeah, they have to come away. Oh man, I tell you.
He's throwing off his back foot.
There you go.
Jesus.
And there's my pal Showboat with another interception.
McNamara, why? Well, here's his third pick. Why?
Pressure in his face. Pressure in his face. Threw it up for grabs. Pressure in his face. Threw it up for grabs.
Jesus Christ! The first drive, they're finally getting a little bit of momentum. They're moving the ball downfield, and
he gave up on the route 85 too.
He started staring for the ball, and he didn't know where it was.
The only guy who knew where the ball was my pal number 11.
I mean, he's got a 2 interception game.
Yeah.
Louis saying,
when they start banging themselves in the head, it's like, yeah, it's on me. It's on me.
McNamara has not had a good game today. I mean, a lot of the passes have been good, but I'm sorry, you just can't be making those type of turnovers in that situation.
Yikes. I like how I got commercial here. Pretty Boy is in the commercial, and yeah, he hasn't been to any of those places. Everything's green screened. Sorry, Pretty Boy.
Grumpy, how many people are worldly travelers? I'm jealous.
They're trying to sell with this commercial that Pretty Boy here goes all over the world. I bet he's never been out of his mom's basement.
Oh, stop. You're ridiculous. That does look like game, though. I mean, you need to come away with points. You need to come away with a touchdown, ideally. You throw an interception I don't know if it was in the red zone. Maybe it was right outside the red zone, but you throw an interception in the touch or in the end zone. I mean, you just can't do that.
Terrible. As soon as he threw it, I'm thinking, well, that's not good.
I was hoping it was out of the end zone. I hoped he had enough nut behind that pass to put it out of the end zone, but he did not.
He did not. Not even close.
No, not even close is right. Well, Grump, let's change and shift gears a bit because I'm gonna let you know something. Where as the game gets as hideously out of hand, which I project it will, we won't be saying, "Oh, well, look at that. That's a good reason for Michigan to be excited about next year." I'm not going to be doing dumb things like that. But Grump, I want to ask you a little bit about the state of college football. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. Now, to see these matchups and these rematches of Georgia, Alabama, I think we can look at them at one or two ways. And I think that at the moment, people don't look at them, and I'm guilty of this myself. People don't look at it as the way of we could see a real rivalry being built that 20, 30, 40 years from now, they'll do documentaries about how often you saw Alabama and Georgia facing off in the college football playoff finals on a year in, year out basis. And that when we were watching this, right, we took it for granted. We took for granted this great back and forth battle potentially.
It's tough when teams play in the same conference. It's tough because you're going to have somebody who wins conference and the runner-up to both get into the championship series. Now, when they expand to 8 teams, it'll be easier. But until that happens, it's really, really difficult for, let's say, Georgia and Alabama to make it every year. You're going to have one of those teams go undefeated, or certainly they won't be able to lose 2 games. And you're going to have, like if Alabama had lost in the championship game, they wouldn't have been in the Final Four.
I would have still taken a 2-loss Alabama team over Cincinnati.
But they're not going to do that. Now I'm just looking, the game is back on. I'm looking at this formation. The guy in the slot, you can pretty much do anything that you want with him. Anything. Okay, they're running him to the other side of the field, but it's like no one's covering him. and they're just going to run it to number 4. Michigan, at least they come out to play here. You can't say that they quit.
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying that's why the interception hurts so bad because they move the ball on football. They move the football on offense. They're actually gaining some yards bit by bit. There's Dan Lanning. He's going to be the new head coach in Oregon. Again, having this last game or these potential last 2 games with Georgia before he heads out west.
They'll
But
get ready to start losing games to USC.
yes, Louis, we are going to be going live during the national championship game. Same way we did on this one. You've got here another run.
And then, you know what? They're happy. They're more than happy just to run clock, just run the game out. They don't care. I mean, like I said, Michigan hasn't done anything to show that, they can really win this game. That said, what you don't want to do is something dumb right here, right? And, turn the ball over, try to force a throw. I mean, just look at these defensive stats for the season. They're first in everything. Like I said, they had one bad game against Alabama. I can't imagine them playing that poorly again. I just can't. They're certainly not going to go in. They're going to go in with a chip in their shoulder for certain. No one thinks you can beat Alabama, like me.
All we keep hearing. Nobody thinks we're good enough. Nobody thinks for this. Nobody thinks for that. Oh,
and the one thing, Stenick, just throw the ball away, kid. Why would you possibly throw it to the middle of the field? And the whole thing is you don't want to be taking punishment either. You're playing next week. That's just dumb. Just throw it. Just throw the ball away. And good defensive stand by Michigan, right? Yeah. Let's give credit. They have not given up and quit.
That is true. I mean, that's about a positive you can look at. It just means, I mean, that pick was just freaking back-breaking.
Yeah.
Louis says, nice. He'll be here. Terrific. We'll be looking for you, Louis.
I mean, to me, Michigan started the second half off the way they needed to. They really need to come off way with a score, though. They're going to have to hope they get a big play.
Well, here it is. This punt return, at least he was able to go ahead and break it outside. He turns what a return is. It looks like it's going to be about 5 or 6 into about 15-yard return.
That was a borderline horse collar tackle. Close. No cigar. New Year's Rockin' Eve. I remember when Dick Clark did that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Do you even know who Dick Clark is, TJ?
Yeah. Grump, I'll be honest. I don't watch a lot of the New Year's stuff.
Okay. That wasn't a question. I said, do you know who Dick Clark is?
I know who Dick Clark is. Now Ryan Seacrest does it, but I know who Dick Clark was.
Who was he? Who was he?
He's a guy who did that every single year. Dick Clark's Rocking New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Well, he was actually known for being on American Bandstand. And do you know what American Bandstand is or was?
Grump, no. When was that on television?
Gosh, from the 60s up till, I guess, the late 80s.
Yeah, Grumpy. I was not alive in the 60s, 70s, or 80s.
Okay, it doesn't mean you couldn't have heard things. I wasn't around during the Civil War, but I've heard of that. So,
are you trying to say and liken the magnitude of American Bandstand to the Civil War? Both were so widely known in all circles of the United States. Is that what it is?
Pretty much, yes.
Christ Almighty! Yeah, crazy Grump.
And he was produced a whole lot of like the $100,000 Pyramid, whole bunch of game shows. He was quite the prolific producer, and he always looked the same. Even when he was old, he looked young. Just one of those guys who just always look young.
I want to talk a little bit about what we saw out of Alabama today, and now talking about the potential matchup between Alabama and Georgia. I don't know if you had a chance to notice this. Alabama, again, the offensive line gave up some pressure. Chris Owens, the right tackle for Bama, was not only committing multiple infractions, full starts, holdings, he was getting walked around on a consistent basis. I wonder if they're going to try to exploit him more than they did the first time they played in the SEC championship game.
I think Alabama really came out with something to prove in the SEC championship game. Remember, Georgia jumped out to a 10-0 lead in that game, and then everything kind of went south. I think maybe it came too easy for Georgia. I'm picking Georgia to win the national championship game. I didn't like what I saw from Bryce, right, from the quarterback today, Young. Did not like that. I don't like his throwing motion. I was underwhelmed by him. The fact that they lost 2 offensive linemen in this game is something that really is disturbing if you're an Alabama fan. And the fact that you were playing your 3rd and 4th string cornerbacks is also something you have to look out for. I can't see Georgia playing that poorly on defense again. I think, like I said, they're going to go in there with a chip on their shoulder and something to fight for.
I'm gonna let you know something. They talk about they did lose some offensive line. I like J.C. Latham. He's the guy who replaced him. He's a true freshman in this year's class. I remember covering him and looking kind of in depth on him. He's a hell of an offensive lineman. He was, a 5-star recruit, if I recall correctly. J.C. Latham, the guy who had to step up for the Bama, did a hell of a job today. He's not the issue. I think it's the right tackle. Oh my God. Ugh.
Not a great pass, but why is the running back stopped running?
He's trying to find us. Okay, the running back stops running because he's trying to find that he finds a soft spot in his own.
But he didn't.
His job is once he's open, his job is to sit there and be the safety option for the quarterback.
But he never turned towards the quarterback. He was still sideways towards the quarterback. If you're going to sit down, you find a spot and you turn your body so the quarterback can hit you right in the chest. He was still like he was running and just kind of slowed up and stopped. Keep running.
New quarterback in. And then
Yeah.
McCarthy's in.
Well, maybe they're running. This has to be a run.
Jesus.
He can throw the ball.
Oh, wow. I guess they're – wow. Okay, well, here it is. How do you fix interceptions and poor throws and throwing off your back foot and throwing an interception and then the end zone? Go to the backup quarterback. J.J. McCarthy is now looking like he's going to be off the bench and he's going to be the quarterback here going forward.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, the other thing wasn't working. This kid was highly recruited. As they keep reminding you week in, week out, month in, month out, he was the number 1 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school last year.
He was number 2, but yes. Number 1 was Quinn Ears. Holy shit!
Okay.
You cannot be fumbling that damn ball.
Maybe he was down.
No, I don't think
he was down.
Oh, no, he's not down.
And here's the worst thing.
Here's the ball. Jesus.
Again, number 2. Just bench that kid's ass.
Holy crap. Oh.
My gosh. Goodness gracious.
Blake Corum.
Again.
You look at the running backs, right? Whether it's Donovan Edwards dropping the ball wide open in the flat, and you've got Blake Corum fumbling the ball away. He's got a case of I can't hold on to the football. Jesus Christ! I mean, anything and everything that could go wrong today has gone wrong for me.
Here's the thing: a 7,000-pound defensive lineman beat you to that fumble.
Woohoo, baby! The big guys, the big men up front getting something. Yeah, Corum. You know what I tell them? I say, you know what? Don't even bother taking your helmet, buddy. You're on the bench the rest of the game.
The Dean kid
can't have that.
The Dean kid has been sensational today.
Kobe Dean is fantastic. He is fantastic. He covers ground so well. He's very mobile. That's a guy, when you talk about a guy that's going to be playing on Sundays, he's going to be playing on Sundays.
To me, number 2, you don't play the rest of the game.
That's what I said. Yeah, don't even bother taking your helmet, buddy. Because the game's over, right? Now you start proving a point. Yeah, we're not going to let you do that. You fumble like that, yeah, you're done for the rest of the afternoon. Don't care if somebody's tired. We're putting an offensive lineman running.
Whoa, what a catch.
I'll be honest with you. A little bit of hospital pass, but he does a great job. What does he do right there? He threads the needle. He puts it over the top of the linebacker in the zone, but yet where it drops in before the safety, where only the wide receiver can make the catch. I have been unbelievably impressed with Stetson Bennett today. I thought that he was always the weakest link on Georgia, and today he's come out playing fantastic football. A holding. Oh, see, that's a hold.
All right, we got him around the neck there.
It's a hold, but I just hate that it ruins that offensive play because that was a fantastic pass. Feel bad for Stetson Bennett because that was a fantastic pass by him.
Yeah,
it was a great job. I mean, you talk about threading needle right over the top of the linebacker or the corner, whatever, who is ever sitting in that zone, and then right before the safety.
The Cardinals said he stopped moving his feet. He stopped moving his feet. He stood there, and then the guy continued driving to the outside. Okay, Ohio State and Utah. Ohio State will kill Utah tomorrow.
You think so?
Yes.
The only reason I'm asking is because does that game
Utah can run the ball?
Does that game mean anything to Ohio State? You've got 2 of the wide receivers that I think are sitting out for the draft, or they're sitting out due to injury, something like that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Does it mean anything to Ohio State? You've got 1st and 25. Look at that. A nice job by Brock Bowers out there blocking on the edge. It gives Cook just a little bit of a sliver of daylight. He picks up about 13 yards. It's going to be 2nd and 11 for
Okay.
the Georgia Bulldogs.
I need you to keep your hands out of your pants when you talk about this Bowers kid.
Bowers, yeah.
Whatever.
That's that right.
Whatever.
That's a nice catch by Cook. That's a hell of a catch by Cook. It gets deflected, and he's
so in other words, you're able to make catches when a ball's deflected? Okay.
He had more of a time to react to it, Grump. But it was a good catch.
The Michigan kid just sucks. The Michigan kid just sucks. I'm sorry.
Oh, stop.
And Grump. That's not the reason why they lost.
Another good job, right? He gets the pass deflected, and Michigan forces now 3rd and 11.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is the one thing they didn't do in the first half was turn the ball over. They've done it twice so far in this half.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could have come out with a couple of scores, make the game close, yes, but you start turning the ball over, just kind of is what it is.
Jeremy Ford saying, whoever's making the calls on the sidelines for Michigan, they've got one heck of a loud voice. The whole team stops and turns to the sideline. Execution just isn't there today. Too bad for Michigan.
Yeah, I think if Michigan would have played this game the week after, they beat and they give up a first down on 3rd and 11.
3rd and 11 on a little running back. It was a running back screen out there, and they give up the first down.
Yeah, I almost call that like a wide receiver screen. He might be a running back.
Running back, but yeah, it's a wide out screen.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't have that happen. You got to make that play. Oh, nice missed tackle there, number 30. Jeez,
it was just a hell of a block by my boy Brock Bowers, Grump.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, good gracious. Jesus, you talk about, whatever types of woes they had on the first drive, Georgia has been able to say, all right, we're going to right the ship.
Making the 3rd down 11, that kills it. That kills you.
You had momentum going your way. I mean, you give up the huge pass, but it's going back there to be a 1st and 25. Yikes! You let him 3rd and 11.
This has got to be fun. TJ formerly played offensive line in college, and this has to be fun now. When your team's up big like this,
it is.
You're able to just pretty much do anything you want on the line offensively.
I always love running the football. There's nothing better. Like when you're Georgia right now and you're dominating the line of scrimmage, everything you do. I mean, because to be honest with you, when you're playing really well and you're gaining yards, I mean, you feel fantastic. It's like, oh man, our offense is dominating. Doesn't matter whether it's via the pass, the run. We're pushing around the guys in front of us. I'm winning my individual battle, and the team's winning the team battle. There's no better feeling.
If he waited just a second, he had 19 wide open. Here's the thing: you just look at the body language.
Michigan, yeah.
Michigan knows they're done. You just look at the body language.
They didn't quit, but you could just
tell. They haven't quit, but you could just tell. Okay, yeah, they know it's over, but they're not quitting.
And I'll tell you too, Jeremy, a lot of times what they're doing is, you might think they're yelling loud. They're all looking on the sidelines because usually they'll be signaling something. And for the wideouts, if they're not huddling up, they'll just be in the same position. And if they need to make any audibles like that, the coach is saying, hey, switch with, a check with me or a switch or anything like that at the line of scrimmage. Because I don't hear anything volume wise, but I don't think they're able to hear the guy on the sidelines. But I'm sure he's yelling like crazy. Oh, Hutchinson, yikes! He gets to the read in the backfield. He's a read man. And look at this. Look at
10 yards of rush.
He's exhausted. You can tell he's exhausted. I hope they show that as a replay. Look at how exhausted Hutchinson is. Before he even gets to break down for the read, the ball's already in Cook's hands, and he's already hit to the outside edge.
And that's what happens when you can run the ball. You get worn down.
You're tired. Mm-hmm. And let me ask you this. Does this hurt tonight's performance, hurt Hutchinson? Does it hurt his draft stock? Mel Kiper puts him as top tier prospect, right? Him and Thibodeau, who's going to be the first overall pick? They're both fantastic. Do you think that hurts Hutchinson's draft stock?
I think a little bit, because I don't think he's really big. You know what I mean? He looks a little small to me, weight wise. So I think that hurts him. But there was a penalty, so it takes him back. One thing that you're not going to get on most other podcasts is detailed breakdown like TJ just gave you on just something simple like that. You hear people screaming on the sideline. He's going to tell you what's actually happening.
Oh, yeah. Then
another penalty. The officials want to get involved now. Hey, let's try to keep it close. We got some sponsors. We still got to run their commercials. So, we don't want to give him another touchdown, have everybody tune out.
I seriously wonder, right? Because there were essentially no flags thrown in the first half. And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe that now magically in the second half infractions are being committed. The first half was just excellent football. I'm telling you, this guy is wearing a freaking muscle shirt or a corset. I'm looking at his body frame. He's not rock solid. That referee is wearing a damn corset. He's wearing something to strap up and make his stomach look like he's got a nice physique about him. I mean, he's got something going on down there. He's wearing some sort of compression, skin tight, like corset on his stomach.
That's a board. I don't believe that's a chop block. I'm sorry. That did not look like a chop block.
I looked away for a second. Damn,
they gave him 15 on that. So, like I said, they don't want him scoring right now. It's 1st and 29. So says, okay, we got to keep Michigan on the game. All day back there to throw the ball.
Jesus, that's what I'm about to say. All day's right. And he escapes out of the pocket.
Get out of
bounds, dude. You're beating the hell out of him. Do not take an unnecessary
That's the second time that he's taken punishment like that. The second time. Go down, dumbass. That should have been a penalty on Michigan. He had him. They certainly piled on when he was out of bounds.
I don't know. And they're going to comment.
Maybe they're going to show it. Here it is. Let's see. Yeah, I'm telling you what. That's awful close. In the NFL, that's a penalty. I would tell you right now.
I don't know, man. I don't have an issue with it. Think about that. You've got the freaking corner, number 4, he's got position. He's got position on Bennett. He takes the wrong freaking angle. He spins out of a possible tackle. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how many more times could he take a bad angle or just screw up a technique? I mean, that's just poor technique as you're pursuing the ball carrier. You're pursuing the quarterback. Poor technique.
This guy has a speck of athletic ability. He just ran away from him. It's just they don't have the athletic ability on the back end. That's why they got exposed today. That's why we thought they were going to get exposed against Ohio State. But they were able to run the ball and make a couple of big plays against Ohio State.
Luis saying he still wished that Daxon Hill had committed and stayed committed.
Oh, my God, that's pass interference, too. They didn't call it.
I think that was borderline pass interference is right. Oh, I'll have to watch that again.
Real close.
Are they just saying it's uncatchable? He got there definitely before the ball did.
Yeah, you got to call that. I'm sorry.
Now you
call all the other penalties. Well, it's because that penalty would have been against Michigan. And who's that kid, number 18?
That's JT Daniels.
What does he do? Is he a quarterback?
Yeah, JT Daniels is a top recruit.
Ugh, I guess they'll be looking to see when he comes in. Wow, I'm surprised they're kicking this.
JT Daniels is a redshirt junior. He was a 5-star recruit that originally committed back to USC and transferred, I believe, to Georgia.
Well, there you go. He missed the kick.
He transferred to He transferred to Georgia here in 2020. He was that 5-star recruit back in the day, though, Grump.
Okay. I mean, I think he's got some playing time this year. Didn't he have some playing time this year?
He did. He did. Yeah. He was originally because remember they had some injuries there. I thought he was the quarterback and had an injury, and then he lost the starting job. I got to look back through it if I remember this correctly. He was originally, he was the starter. He was a starter against Clemson the first week of the season. Started against South Carolina. Started against Vanderbilt. Then got hurt and didn't play time again and get until Missouri where he came in and mop up duty and he lost the job essentially after he got hurt. That honestly was the best case scenario for them.
Yeah, kudos to the Bennett kid for getting a chance and capitalizing on it. Good for him. Mm-hmm. I think he's a senior though, Bennett, isn't he? I think he is.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, Grump. I'll have to pull that for you.
I mean,
good.
I'm just astounded that the lack of athletic. Okay, I'm astounded by the lack of athleticism from Michigan compared to Georgia. You can't let that kid just running away from all their defensive players. And he doesn't look like a kid who runs like a 4.2 40.
He looks elusive. He looks like one of those skinny guys that when you play against him, he reminds you of one of those, like I say this in the most endearing way possible. He's kind of like a little bit like a rat. He always finds a way to survive. He finds a way to move the ball down the field. He finds a way to just to beat you. He just finds a way to do it. You hate playing against him. I mean, this guy's been looked like he's dead to rights a few different times a day, and he finds a way to get out of the grasp of the Michigan Wolverines, and he finds a way to extend plays and gain yards.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these commercials. I don't know what the hell you're trying to sell, but I'm not buying it, no matter what it is.
I couldn't tell you either, Grump. I don't pay too much attention to that type of stuff. That being said, grumpy old man. Yikes. Yikes. So I want to get back to what you think is going to happen there. Yeah, I know you said you're picking Georgia to win. You think if there's a year, this is the year for Georgia to finally beat Bama.
Yes. That's what I think. This is the year to finally beat Alabama. I think Alabama's a little bit banged up. I don't think they're that good. I didn't think they played extremely well all year. Probably some of the reason they stayed in there, even though they didn't pass the smell test for most of the year, is that they were Alabama. Remember, Oklahoma was winning games every week, not convincingly, and they kept dropping every single week in the polls while they were still winning and undefeated. But Alabama moved up in the polls, even though they were not winning impressively. So, I mean, we're going to see, but I just think that maybe this could be Georgia's year.
Now,
the biggest caveat is Kirby
Smart. Let me ask you this. We know they had faced off in the SEC championship game. We were all, pontificating as to what maybe was the result to why the game was as lopsided as it was. In the rematch, in the potential rematch that looks, all to be written upcoming on January the 10th, what do you think breaks first? The defense for Georgia again, or do you think that they stop and thwart the Alabama offense, the high-octane Alabama offense?
I think they're going to play better defensively against Alabama's offense. I mean, here's the thing. People forget, man, that game was super physical. Like, Alabama did not look like that today. Another sack and another fumble. He got it back.
Jesus, McNamara with another fumble. Yikes.
But Alabama did not look great today. Certainly, they didn't play with the physicality that they did against Georgia in the SEC championship game. That was a man's game, that SEC championship game. And I don't know if Georgia was ready for it.
I'm sure it's going to be a man's game again.
They're going to be ready for it this time, though. I think they looked at Alabama. You know what? They've just been hanging on. They just beat Auburn. They
played Arkansas close the week before. I mean, Arkansas, we beat Arkansas 42-3 or whatever it was, 42-0. We beat the hell out of Arkansas. They were looking at a few of the teams they both matched up against, and they thought they're going to roll over Alabama. Honestly, that was a hell of a pass by McNamara.
Yeah.
That was a nice bullet. It was the needle was threaded. And it's Eric All again, number 83, the tight end, Grump.
The king of meaningless stats. Like I said, the Brock Nelson, Andrews Lee of the Michigan Wolverines.
That's a good pass. I mean, he threads the needle between the zone. He finds the open tight end, and he's able to get that first down.
That kid's taking a beating today. Now here's the McCarthy kid. Airmailed that one, did not step into it. A little bit leaning back when he threw it.
He sees a guy in his face. He says, "All right, I'm gonna go ahead and chicken wing this a bit." Yikes!
I mean, I remember when Brady played for Michigan. I tell you what, you can tell guys who are winners. You just can tell.
Are you saying McCarthy's not a winner?
I'm saying that he's not ready to win yet. That's all I'm going to say.
He's a freshman, man. What are you expecting? It's very rare that freshman quarterbacks walk in and they're ultra successful.
Yeah, but you know what? The fact that he's bailing out on throws already.
He's a guy
he's got talent, though. He wants to run.
Jesus.
Boom. Oh.
Welcome to college football, buddy. He wouldn't even hit that hard. Welcome to the SEC, buddy. This is what an SEC opponent looks like. Yeah, Jesus Christ. You know what? Maybe it doesn't hurt you that much because you only get about 10 snaps a game at the moment. Those type of hits wear on you over a season.
Oh man. And that's his thing.
He cleated him.
And here's the thing.
Here's the
thing. That's a form tackle too. He actually wrapped the arms as well as not just block tackling. He wrapped the arms too and finished. Well, the third quarter, no scoring. Michigan, if they had scored a couple of times instead of turning it over, they could have made a game of it.
I was about to say, think about it. If they scored even on the first drive, we didn't have McNamara throwing an interception in the end zone, and they maybe come away with another drive with some sort of field goal. I mean, 27-13 is at least somewhat doable. I mean, there's no way in hell they're scoring, 24 points in this last quarter. I could promise you that. Louis there saying the wood hath been laid.
Yeah,
The
that's
wood
for
has
certain.
been laid.
That's for certain.
God
Jeez.
almighty. I love to see that, but that kid better be careful.
You can't take shots like that. You cannot take shots like that.
You're the quarterback, man. You can't be doing stuff like that, is right.
I mean, you're more important than a 2-yard run in a blowout bowl game. You got to think about next year. He'll be the starter next year.
Really?
Isn't that kid a senior as well?
McNamara, I believe, is a junior.
Oh, well, here's the thing: if they're going to want, they just recruited that kid as like what number quarterback was he last year coming out?
Okay, so anytime they say, "Oh, he's a number 2 dual threat quarterback," all these recruiting sites have people rated at different spots. Okay, he played for IMG. IMG's, the huge football school down there in Florida, right? You've got St. Thomas Aquinas, IMG. They're a big one. It's like it's the feeder school. That's where J.C. Latham played, and a lot of these top football recruits all played IMG Academy. He was the quarterback there. He was a 5-star. They 24/7 Sports. They had him 5th best quarterback. He's a top tier quarterback. That's all it needs to be known. Top tier quarterback in this last year's recruiting class.
Okay, and number 12 is still going to be there next year.
He's a junior, okay. So Cade McNamara has an extra year. I don't think you go away from Cade. His numbers haven't been fantastic this year. And again, we watched him up close and personal in the Ohio State game, and he's definitely a guy that has benefited from having a fantastic running game and playing in the Big Ten, to where the offensive line was able to dominate their opponents in that conference. He's only, believe it or not, he's only thrown for 15 passing touchdowns this season.
Well, they're predominantly a run-based team. So, I mean, that's the reason why. They run the ball.
Barry W. saying, "Go Dogs!"
Now, I like how Barry has put the oranges for the O's, being this is the Orange Bowl.
Oh yeah, I tell you.
I hate that they're using this game, because back when I was younger, it wasn't the Capital One Orange Bowl. It was just the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and they only played 4 bowl games, and they were all on New Year's Day. And you could watch, the Cotton Bowl was always first, and the last game was usually the Sugar Bowl. But you could sit there and you could watch all 4 games. They were just conference against conference, the top teams from each conference. Now it's different, and honestly, not as good.
And then Barry W. saying here, SEC teams maybe 3 and 5 right now, but 2 of them are playing for the national championship game.
Yeah, and they'll win. Like I said, all their lower seeded teams lost against teams that were rated highly in other conferences. Watch out,
McCarthy.
Oh,
that's how you get a wide receiver.
I thought he was going to get his wide receiver absolutely killed.
That's how you kill your teammate and your friends.
You throw that ball into the stands, into the 6th row.
Look at this. He's rolling out. When he rolls out, he's rolling out to the opposite side. He just tries to throw the ball up. Man, oh man. But Louis there saying, yep. And I think Ole Miss and Arkansas are going to win as well tomorrow. Yep. Ole Miss. Who's Ole Miss playing tomorrow, Grump?
Jeez. I don't remember. I'm surprised they haven't shown it up here.
Ole Miss is going to be playing Baylor. I apologize. Ole Miss plays Baylor. Arkansas plays Penn State.
Okay, those should be 2 good games.
I think Arkansas beats Penn State. I'm not sure. Ole Miss and Baylor, I hope, is a close game. Oh, he's open. He just overthrows him a bit. He's open.
I don't see. Here's the thing: the fact that this kid's getting a lot of PT at the end of this game tells me that's who they want to go with next year.
Yep, that it tells me that it doesn't. And here's the thing: I feel bad for McNamara. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he could be as good as McCarthy next year, and McCarthy will win the job because they want him to win the job.
Yes, and that's
one of those things. I do not like that, and I think you're right. That's one of those things. Anytime you see favoritism shown towards a certain player, I kind of feel for the other guy. You see stuff like that all the time.
Right, they're invested in the new kid, and they say, "Screw you, old guy. You're not."
We want to keep him happy.
Yeah.
The game's over. We don't want to. We want to prevent him from transferring. So how do I show him? We want to prevent him from entering the transfer portal because let's say he's already voiced to you, "Hey, I want to be playing more football games." Players are prima donnas. Oh, McCarthy, I want to play more football games. I was a 5-star recruit. You told me when I committed here, I was going to be fighting for a starting job on day one. And here I am. I don't play any minutes besides occasionally running plays or read option plays. And we were getting beat by 24 points. And McNamara had 2 interceptions. You wouldn't play me.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the transfer portal.
It's always best players play. Brady went through the same thing at Michigan, where he was better than Bob Greasy, but Greasy was the upperclassman. So Lloyd Carr played Greasy. And the next year when Greasy graduates, Brady had to split time with Drew Henson, who was, the new hot name. And eventually he took over because he was just so much better than Henson. But the fact that they were splitting games, half a game here, splitting by quarters, that shit never works.
No.
Put the guy who gives you the best chance to win, that's a guy who should play.
Do you remember when they used to have Denard Robinson? Who was that other quarterback they used to split time with Michigan, where they used to run that dual threat system?
I thought Robinson was pretty much the full-time starter for them.
Yeah, and I thought they switched it up. I can't remember what it was.
What you're seeing here, like in these bowl games, Penn State was like what, the third team in the Big Ten? Where were they?
They were down the list. Grump, because they lost to Michigan State, they lost to Michigan, they lost to Ohio State, and I think they lost to Wisconsin.
Okay.
But they lost to Purdue.
Okay. I don't know how many games they lost, but honestly, if their quarterback Clifford wasn't hurt, they would have been much better too.
And say blows. James Franklin's a bad game time manager. He's a fantastic recruiter. They were 7-5 this year.
Okay. I still think he's a good coach. I think he's a very good coach.
They're showing
all the Georgia highlights / Michigan lowlights for the game right now.
They lost to Michigan State. They lost to Michigan. They lost to Illinois. They lost to Iowa. And
I was lucky to beat them.
In Ohio State, maybe? Yeah, maybe I didn't say Ohio State. I think they're going to lose to Arkansas, though. But he says it's a peach and an orange, Grump, is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Now I see the peach. Now I see the little portion of the peach out of top.
Okay.
I do see that. And then Louis there saying J.J. McCarthy, he's going to be a damn good quarterback, was highly recruited.
Just because you're highly recruited does not mean you're going to be a great quarterback. But I mean, he looks like he can throw the ball. He really does.
And I think you look at the recruiting classes that Harbaugh's had, Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. I think this is the highest quarterback recruit he's ever signed. So this is, it definitely is a step, for a guy, you talk about the future, that's something they're excited about for certain. But I'm just not sure if you're saying who gives us the best chance to win immediately next year, is that McNamara, is that McCarthy? That's a lot in the offseason. That depends on things.
I also do think there's going to be a little bit of a reset in Michigan. Like I said, they are a veteran team.
Yep.
But then wouldn't you want your veteran quarterback in there to kind of guide you through? I don't know.
The transfer portal makes for things that are very, very odd, Grump. You can find a lot of really talented players and guys that could fill in to add some more veteran leadership through the transfer portal.
Can you tell me what time you have on the game time?
I've got 13 minutes and 23 seconds.
Let me know when you get to 13.
Look at Bennett.
Let me know when you get to 13:13.
Okay. Oh, how? Okay, you're a good far bit ahead of me there, Grumpy. Okay. I'm at 13:13, Grump.
Okay, thank you.
But he's a guy, he might turn out to be something okay. I can't honestly, I didn't really watch his clips all that well, or all that in depth. But Barry W saying here, Michigan, they're on the right track. They just need to be more physical. You look at the recruiting class, Michigan technically has got a top 10. You talk about, were they able to capture some of the momentum they created this year? They've right now got a top 10 recruiting class. And that's how you kind of start with those baby steps. You find a way to make yourself and get yourself into these college football playoffs. You start, capturing the momentum in your recruiting classes. You start getting the better athletes. You start getting the more, gifted physical specimens. So, that they just can't match up. The more physically gifted players are on Georgia's team today.
Yeah. The one thing about a quarterback that makes it's the intangibles that makes a really great quarterback. A lot of the greatest athletes or best athletes are not the best quarterbacks.
And another thing too is it a quarterback, especially in college football, makes and breaks a season. If you don't have a good enough quarterback, you're not able to be successful. Look at, let's say, for example, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had not had a 10-win season, a 10-win regular season in the last 40 years. Their program had not. Kenny Pickett finds a stride this year, has a fantastic season. They win 11 games and go to, one of those, Big Six bowl games. They win the ACC championship. It's all based off of quarterback play. And I don't think Pittsburgh was all that talented this year, but they had a quarterback and an offensive coordinator that had meshed well, and they were really able to capitalize on that.
And the ACC was way down this year. They were miserable as a conference this year.
They benefited from a lot of different things. And they, will they be able to capture momentum and hopefully continue to build on that? I think oh my God. Oh, Bennett gets tattooed. But Cooks catches the ball and they score yet another touchdown. Georgia goes up 34-3. I will tell you this. Might be time to take Stetson Bennett out of the game, put JT Daniels in. You do not want Bennett getting banged up or injured.
That's right. And he's taking some shots here.
He just took a shot right there at the end. That's what I was about to say. Go ahead and switch your quarterbacks. Put JT Daniels in.
And it's 33-3. Just to, if they hit the extra point, it'll be 34-3.
I'm sorry, 34-3.
Oh, and my God. Who's that? Was that 25 again? Who gets burned there?
Yeah.
Yes, it was by pal number 25. Holy come on.
James Cook coming back
James got cooked.
No, James Cook is number 4. James Cook is the running back for Georgia. He 25? Has looked fantastic. He has looked fantastic this evening today, grumpy old man.
And the look on that Michigan fan's face just says it all, doesn't it?
Junior Collison. He's a freshman. He's a true freshman for Michigan.
He's been toasted. I love these commercials with John Travolta as Santa Claus. And Samuel L. Jackson is, playing Samuel L. Jackson. I think they're pretty good. I just think
I don't watch TV besides this.
I think he's really good. He's like, hey, does that get me on the naughty list? Will you stop the naughty words? He's like, no. He's like, oh, I don't think so.
God,
it's funny. Travolta's funny. I met him. Nice guy. Really nice guy.
Thanks for that little tidbit, Crump.
Yeah, what can
But now, I wonder if was James Cook healthy for that Alabama game? I got to look this back up.
No, he was out. I think he was out.
I'll get it pulled up, Grump.
Okay. And I like I said, Alabama's missing.
He was healthy. He was healthy. He only had. James Cook has been healthy all year.
Okay. They were missing someone else.
James Cook has been healthy all season.
Okay.
He's been playing, it looks like if you have a 1A, 1B, he's been playing 1B. Zamir White's been getting, again, the lion's share of all the carries, and it's looked a little different today. James Cook has had a fantastic explosion onto the scene today. This is his best game of the season.
Matchups, right? It's about matchups, right?
Yep. They've got 4 fantastic running backs that they can go ahead and rely upon at any which time. And think about it. Kendall Milton, another highly recruited running back, a very powerful back. You haven't seen much of him at all. You haven't seen much of him at all today, but he would be a guy that starts on the majority of teams in college football.
You think about it, they're almost like running back now, Georgia, aren't they?
I'd say Alabama.
I don't know. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift. They put out some really better overall running backs in the last number of years in Alabama.
No way.
What was the last great Alabama back? Right, it's Henry.
Derrick Henry. You've got Alvin Kamara's from Alabama originally.
He's from Tennessee.
Originally from Alabama. He's
from Tennessee. He's from Tennessee.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Let me pull up the picture. I'll get it for you, Grumpy. Don't you worry. Just keep
pull up whatever you want.
Keep opining about how fantastic Georgia's running backs have been.
I'm just saying, in the recent years, I tell you what, they got some great looking cheerleaders, though. I'm going to tell you that much. They lead the league in cheerleaders for certain.
They lead the league in cheerleaders.
And they dress the cheerleaders the way they're supposed to be dressed also.
Oh, good gracious.
I don't care if they can dance. That's not why you're here. Rah, rah, sis, boom, bah.
Okay.
Bricka, bracka, firecracker, sis, boom, bah. Bugs Bunny, rah, rah, rah.
You're bringing it from the Wayback Machine, Grump.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Let me pull this for you.
I'm sure you'll lose it because it doesn't prove your point. You're very good at that.
No, it won't. So speaking about this running back room, TJ Yeldon, he had a little bit of time in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm talking about the last
Kenyon
5
Drake.
years.
Kenyon
I'm
Drake.
talking about the last 5 years.
Kenyon
I'm talking
Drake's
about,
from the last Kenyon Drake's from the last 5 years. Derrick Henry's
he's a backup. He's a backup. Henry's the one guy. And you got Najee Harris, who just came out and plays for Pittsburgh, and you got Damian Harris, who plays for
and then for you to say we're not going to look at prior people like your Mark Ingrams or anything like that. I just think that's
no, I'm not going back 15 years. That's correct. I'm saying the last 5 years is what I said. Within the last number of years, they're like running back you now. That's what I said. I don't want to go back 25 years. You say Oklahoma's running back you then. If you want to go back 35 years.
I'm just saying, let's look at even last, how about last 10 years or last 11, 12 years?
No, I said 5 years is what I said. Don't try to change the parameters on what I said to fit whatever argument you want to make. That's a problem.
Over the last 5 years, they've been running back you.
Right. Since Chubb came out.
Eddie B saying, what's your
Tony
favorite beer? I'm actually a wine guy, wine and mixed drinks, but I could go for a Bud every once in a while. I'm not a big beer guy though. McCarthy, nice pass.
He can throw the ball. He
can. He's got good arm strength. That's what's needed. I think his mechanics could be refined. He's definitely a lot more athletic than McNamara. I don't think anybody's arguing that. Yeah. Barry W. says that play right there is why Stetson is the quarterback.
That was that scramble that they had.
Absolutely. Why he won the job over JT Daniels for certain.
That's a running play. My pal number.
Jesus Christ.
The human fumble, the human drop, whatever you want to call him. Drop zone, whatever you want to call him.
Go Dogs.
They used to have a ride in an amusement park where I live. It was called Drop Zone. This kid could have been the poster child for that.
Louis also saying here, this is now a complete spanking. Yeah, Josh Jacobs as well, Grumpy, from Alabama.
Yeah, he's been okay.
A lot of starting backs in the NFL come from Bama, man.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake's a backup.
Okay, Derrick Henry's not a backup.
No, I said Derrick. And how long has Derrick Henry been in the league? More than 5 years.
No, Derrick Henry's pretty young. Derrick Henry's like 26, 27 years old.
He's been in the league more than 5 years is all I'm saying. I said the last 5 years. Since it's been Chubb, since Chubb came out. Chubb and Michelle came out, then Swift. They've had a lot of good running backs come out. Versatile running backs who do everything in the
His first year was in 2016.
Okay, so that's 5 years ago.
Okay, so he still counts.
Yeah, he is, and he's
fantastic. Escapes. I don't know how the hell he escaped out of that play. He gets to the outside edge. Oh, buddy, that's a 15-yard. You cannot take that dumb penalty, Collison. You stupid bastard.
The same kid over and over again. At what point do you say, sit your ass on the bench? You're a liability for our team. You're the worst player on the team, and we got beat by 31 points.
Sorry, Blake Corum. I was about to say, yank this son of a gun's helmet off and say, yeah, buddy, don't even bother getting off. He knows you're not allowed to crack back after a guy, especially when he's not looking. It's one of those rules they've really cracked down on. Not only was the fumble not bad enough for him earlier on, he takes a dumb frustration.
The drop pass right in his hands when he stops running his route.
Yikes. Oh, I don't know how the hell he does that. Oh, it's just you're not allowed to do that in the game of college or NFL anymore. Just not allowed to. That's fine, 10 years ago, but that's been outlawed for years, man. You should know better.
And the worst thing is he does it. He's looking at him. He's lining him up.
Yep.
Just so stupid. And the worst thing is you can't do it on the Georgia sideline. That's just so dumb. That's so dumb. Just stupid. His GPA is probably 1.2.
No, not that bad. You can't play unless it's like, what is it? Freshman year, you got like a 1.7 and it was like a 1.8. I don't know. I'm sure he's passing grades fine. But I mean, that's just a poor decision.
I'm sure he's got somebody taking his classes for him.
Yeah. There have been teams that McCarthy looks like he wants to. Jesus,
he missed the run and he just got lit up.
He's gonna get his ass concussed. He's so skinny, he's so slight. He'll get concussed.
You want to know why I don't like him as a starting quarterback next year? He thinks run first. When you're a quarterback, you got to think pass first, unless it's a designed run. He's like, whoop. Hey, looks like they might be covered. I'm taking off.
Not a great pass out of that one,
Yeah.
but
He's
he's
still
covered.
okay.
At least, he gets rid of the ball.
He was still suffering from the last play.
I'm just saying, like, he will not be able to play that same exact style going forward. Slide more often, buddy. We don't want you taking those big hits. Again, this is the most playing time he's seen all season for certain. Tony Chi says, T just thinks the coronavirus is an IPA.
Oh, shit.
Tony Cheese, I love it. I love it, man. And then fifth and sixth year there. Yeah, here comes the wood again. He's just got to be smarter. I mean, it doesn't matter this game, but it's just one of those things you look at going forward. You can't be taking punishment like that, buddy.
They got a first down. Look at that offensive line. John Ford Award winners. I don't think it's the old director, John Ford, either.
No, I thought it was Moore.
Maybe,
Jim Moore, I think.
Whatever.
Whatever it is,
whatever it was, it wasn't good enough to beat Georgia today.
They were not deserving of that award. I mean, they played well this year against the Big Ten competition, but this just shows you. I mean, think about. We talked about what Cincinnati.
You see, you dropped that ball.
It was thrown. It was a shitty pass, man. It was thrown.
Hit him right in the freaking hands again.
It was thrown behind him.
Mr. Stat Filler. Mr. Garbage Time. I feel bad for this kid. I feel bad for the quarterback number 12.
I do too. I feel bad for McNamara because the McCarthy kid is not infinitely better, and McNamara is just thinking to himself, "Okay, I'm done here. I'm gonna go in the spring with a fight for my job, and we're gonna split time all next year."
To me, he's not even better at all than the McNamara kid.
He's more athletic, but that's it.
He doesn't throw a better ball. He's not as accurate. I want a quarterback who can throw the ball and is accurate. I don't care if you can run.
Holy shit! What was that?
Buh. I'll tell
honestly, you what. It hung up there a long time.
McNamara completed one of those earlier in the game.
I'm telling you, they're going to want to grow McCarthy as much as possible. I wonder if McNamara looks to move if he doesn't have a spot or transfer.
Go to a school that's missing a quarterback.
Yep.
I'd leave. I'd have a long talk with Harbaugh.
And here's the thing. Maybe I don't think we're overreacting because I think that they're going to want McCarthy. The guy that you bring in as a 5-star recruit, you're going to want to give him every chance to grow with your organization and to prove that he's a fantastic quarterback. You don't want to have a 5-star quarterback, the first 5-star commit you've had at quarterback that commits to you. You don't want to have him transferring away because of lack of playing time.
I like how you call it
right.
Again, another bomb and another. Okay, that's a completion.
McCarthy. I called him McNamara, but I'm McCarthy.
But that's not a great throw, honestly.
Good job by Edwards.
That's right.
Back to the ball.
Adjusting to the ball. Very good. I like how you call these teams organizations because that's what they are. They're not really schools. They're organizations. They're just running by them. That's a nice adjustment on that ball because that's not where the route's telling them to go.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards, who dropped the ball earlier today, does a good job. Yeah, correcting
when it doesn't count. They're good at that. They've had a lot of players.
Quay Walker. I mean, it's a linebacker matched up on a running back there. I mean, it's a hard battle for the linebacker
fly pattern
on a one-on-one coverage on a fly pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, against a defensive back, that's underthrown is intercepted.
I mean, I tell you what, you got to admire Michigan not giving up though.
For certain. Good to him. I'm telling you, look at his frame. He's got some muscle. I'm telling you, he's got
some boobs. His boobs are flabby as hell.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, like when people wrap their body with like saran wrap. This son of a gun's got saran wrap all around his stomach. It's not a good look.
And he's bald.
Oh man, is that why he's wearing a hat? You think, Grumpy?
I think so. And those glasses are horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was the Georgia linebacker on that Michigan running back there, yeah. And then Edwards, I was about to say they're both fast, but I tell you, it usually those go to the advantage of the running back. But I mean, he did a hell of a job almost staying stride for stride with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's something that Alabama's got to be looking at. I mean, isn't that what you're looking now? What can we exploit on Georgia?
How can I get Robinson out there and, when he's isolated, are we going to win the upfront battle? I mean, you saw that Alabama's offensive line showed, again, spots where they're weak. I think Chris Owens was hideous today. I thought hideous might be actually saying it might be too flowery of a depiction I'm giving him.
They had 2 injuries as well.
I know. And J.C. Latham, again, he was the guy who came in for the injured left guard. I believe it was Cohen. But I'm just telling you, the biggest issue is at right tackle. It's almost like, you know how certain teams have to scheme around to protect the tackle. So I've got to give running back chips. I have to line up a tight end to give a chip so the defensive end doesn't get an easy, clean sweep to him. You're gonna see. You got to start protecting Chris Owens. If I'm looking at game film, I'm thinking to myself, what can we do to mask Chris Owens' performance?
Yeah.
What can we do to help him out? How can we give him a helping hand?
Or they could just let Georgia run wild on him. I'm all for that.
I don't think they're going to do that, Crump. Yeah, they're going to be game planning. It looks like we're definitely doing a matchup. Though.
One thing I can tell you will happen for the next game, I'm going to put product in my hair because, my hair is miserable as it is. And without putting a little spray in there, it kind of pops up at times.
Grumpy, I tell you, man. Ooh, Grumpy. Ooh.
You shouldn't talk about anybody's hair. Look at that receding hairline.
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. But I mean, as a whole, this is the most successful Jim Harbaugh has been at Michigan. You think about where the program was under Brady Hoke. You think about where the program has come to. It's headed in the right direction. And I told Grumpy this earlier on. You give me a whole bunch of shit for it, but I'll say it and I'll still stand by it. If Michigan and Jim Harbaugh did not beat Ohio State, I think Harbaugh's job could have been in jeopardy, somewhat in jeopardy.
No.
That would have been the 7th time in a row he lost to Ohio State.
No.
You and I disagree on that then. That's fine.
I know it's important to win those games, but it's about the direction of the franchise. I mean, what's their record this year?
Michigan, would they have other 12-1, 11-1? 12-1?
Well, after today, because they're going to lose today. So
it'll be 12-2, I think.
12-2. Pretty good, right? You think that's pretty good?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Because you don't think that Lincoln Riley averaging 11-2 every year at Oklahoma was a good record.
Here's the thing.
You realize that. You don't think he's a good coach.
I'm saying the record's good for Michigan. I don't think Lincoln Riley is a great coach. I think he's a fantastic recruiter. I think he does a lot to shoot himself in the foot during game time decisions. Same reason why I think James Franklin, I don't care what results look like. I think he makes a lot of mistakes as a coach that for a top-tier coach, you don't want to see them make during games.
I'll tell you what, the speed is still there for the Georgia linebacking core. Still.
They still have a lot of starters in the game.
They can run, and they go end to end, sideline to sideline, these guys. Really good. No, they've been rotating in. They've been rotating most of the game. They've been running rotations. Maybe not with the linebackers, but certainly with their line.
Yeah. And then Louis there saying J.C. Latham. Yeah, he was number 1 tackle recruit last year. Hopefully he can set up in the national championship game. Step up in national championship game. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's fantastic. He does a great job pass blocking. I always liked his foot quickness and his ability to move. And I like J.C. Latham. He was also the guy for ING. 14
has to catch that ball there.
You would like to think. What a film saying Happy New Year's and love the shirt, Grump. What's the shirt? Let me see the shirt, Grumpy.
Grumpy's Groupies.
It's from the Islanders Never Say Die podcast there, Grumpy.
Very true. Grumpy's Groupies. Yes.
Grumpy's Groupies.
I got my Islanders Never Say Die merchandise in today. This one works for the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast, but I have other ones that I will be wearing to the Islander podcast.
Well, there we go, Grump. There we go. McCarthy, do not. Jeez. I know he's trying to extend the play, but those hit. I'm telling you, he's gonna be feeling sore as shit tomorrow. And maybe because he doesn't play a lot there, or hasn't played a lot, taken a lot of beating this year, you're not gonna be able to do that over a season. He's cramping. He's fine. He's fine.
Oh, I'm glad you know what's going on.
I do. Oh, you didn't know I'm a doctor? I'm telling you, he's just cramping a bit.
Where is he? He's on the other side of the
17.
field.
No, I mean, he gets held. I mean, he gets he has a bear hug. He does a hell of a job chasing him down. He dives out for it. He's just like, oh, he's exhausted, man. He's been flying all over the place. Go ahead and take the rest of the evening off, man. Don't worry about it. Let's get ready for January 10th, is what they're telling him. That's Kobe Dean, Grumpy, who's been all over the field.
Yeah, I don't know. He's still down there a long time.
It's because he's cramping up.
Well, I can't see if they're trying to stretch out that back muscle there, back leg muscle. Either his calf or his hamstring.
He'll walk off the field and he's probably gonna be done. Yeah, Kobe Dean he's been fantastic.
He's been fantastic.
You talk about guys who, and again, now Dean's only a junior. But if
And
he has aspirations of going pro, I think he's he's one of those guys who just earned himself a lot of money this season.
without a doubt,
He's been fantastic.
he's a first-round draft pick. He goes pro, he's a first-round draft pick. I'll tell you what, he can get through the trash too. You don't see him get caught up in any of that, the trash at the line of scrimmage. He's like a heat-seeking missile.
Heat-seeking
Blah,
missile.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's been fantastic. If he declares, if he's saying I'm ready to go, he has earned himself a lot of money tonight. He's like a heat-seeking missile. Is exactly right, Grump.
Yep. I mean, look, this is how they played all year. Is like this. This is how they played all year. What was the thing that they had 11 games in a row? They didn't give up something.
11 games in a row, or 11 games this season where they have not surrendered a touchdown in the first half of play.
Oh, okay.
That is the most games since most games of any college team since 2004.
Well, he's not getting that play was doomed from the beginning.
What the hell are you doing, Edwards? You've been getting your ass kicked.
Number 11, they're like, get away.
What the
number
hell
4
was Edwards trying to pretend like he was he was so tough over here? You just got stopped. It was 4th down, you idiot. And you're over here. He's like, shut up, man. I think he's literally telling Edwards that, shut up, man. We just gave up. We just got stopped on 4th down, and you're trying to act all tough.
You know what those Michigan fans were doing? They're wearing their T-shirts. Hey, at least we got to wear T-shirts. We didn't have to wear
bags over their head. No, I'm just kidding.
We didn't have to wear, thermal undershirt, short sleeve shirt, thermal undershirt, sweatshirt, windbreaker, parka.
It feels nice down there in Florida.
Aviator's cap, thermal underpants.
Their boots, their Timbs,
everything, the whole 9 yards. Didn't have to do that this week.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny. I mean, if you ever go to, if you ever work, I've worked Super Bowls before. I've been to Super Bowl games, and you can always tell the fans from other parts of the country and how it's just so different for them. If you don't have a dog in the fight, it's fun to watch and play with the fans of the other teams. I always enjoyed it.
Oh, for certain, Grump. I can't say I've ever been to a Super Bowl. What Super Bowls have you been to?
Super Bowl 34. I worked the game in Atlanta. It was the St. Louis Rams at the time against Tennessee Titans. Came down to final play.
That was with the Greatest Show on Turf and who the heck? That was the Greatest Show on Turf. Kurt Warner
against Steve McNair.
Steve McNair. Crazy, he's dead.
Yeah, he's been dead for a long time.
I was gonna say, he's been dead for a long time. You forget about that. You're like, that's right, Steve McNair is dead.
And then the Carolina Panthers against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 36, I think it was. That was a really, if you want to talk about a great game, that was a great game. First half, well, till like the 5-minute mark of the game, no one was scoring. New England kept shooting themselves in the foot, and Carolina wasn't ready for the big moment. But then from like the 5-minute mark of the second quarter all the way to the end was just tremendous game. Really underrated as like an all-time great Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Vinatieri hit a game-winning field goal right at the end. It's funny because John Fox, who was the coach of the Panthers, kept on going for 2-point conversions early, and he wound up missing all of them. That's why the game was 29-29 going into the final kickoff. And John Casey, who'd been Mr. Dependable for the Carolina Panthers, winds up kicking the ball out of bounds and gives Brady the ball at like the 40. And you knew it was over then. And Brady did what Brady does, drives him right down the field for the game-winning score. That's
wow. I appreciate the insight on that, Grumpy. You forget about that stuff that happened. Did you know, by the way, that James Cook and Dalvin Cook are brothers?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I was like, let me go ahead and look that up. Man, oh man, crazy. I mean, obviously Dalvin Cook has been fantastic. I mean, he's a superstar in the NFL.
Florida State, wasn't he a Florida State boy?
Florida State product for certain.
Yeah. There you go. Nice way to avoid that first tackle by number 2 in the backfield. Yep. And it looks like
that's Kendall Milton right there.
Yeah, and it looks like that Michigan's got the backups in now for the most part.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's 6
and Georgia should be doing the same thing, honestly. I tell the Bennett kid, guess what? You're not running anymore.
Why is Bennett still in?
Well, if he's just handing off, I'm fine with it.
Why? What's the need? You're up by 31 points. Give JT Daniels some time. Again, like it's not like he's winning the job back or anything like that. I just don't want anything crazy to happen if we're on 3rd and 13 and we decide to throw the football and my guy gets hit in the knee. I don't know. You have nothing to gain.
There's a backup number 19 in there.
Stop, you bastard! I tell you, he's good. You don't like him very much, but Brock Bowers is he's a good tight
I
end.
didn't say I didn't like him. Just the fact that you gush over him makes me root against him.
Oh, and then Louis there saying both of those Super Bowls were bangers. Both won or lost right at the end.
Yeah, they were really 2 great games. I remember teasing I met so many of my heroes when I was a kid. We stayed at the Players Hotel and stuff, and it was just so much fun, and just teasing the fans of each team was just great. But kind of funny, so it's like
nothing malicious, I'm sure.
Yeah, I remember Marty Schottenheimer was on an elevator with me with a couple of Rams fans. I'm like, oh, this before the game, I'm like, you guys get ready for Tennessee. Guess you're rooting for Tennessee today, huh? And they're like, oh no, we're rooting for the Rams. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. They're wearing like all their Rams paraphernalia. And Marty Schottenheimer, he just let out a belly laugh. It's like, come on, really? We know you're wearing Rams gear. And they had some hot looking cheerleaders too, very, very friendly as well.
I'm sure most people are very nice, and most cheerleaders are very attractive, Grump. That's why they're in that.
They are. That's why they're there.
What a film saying late getting to the game. Tough one for Michigan. Is this Bulldog defense that good? Yes. Yes, they for certain are.
They've only had one bad game all year. It was against Alabama.
Yeah. And I was about to say they're the real damn deal.
I think they're going to come out to play in a national championship game. I really do.
I hope so.
Sometimes losing a game like they lost to Alabama is good for you. They're not going to come in overconfident. That much I can guarantee you. Maybe they did the first time they played them. They go out up 10-0. Oh, hey, this game's over. Man, and I haven't seen Alabama hit like that in that game all year. Both teams were really hitting in that game, but mostly Alabama. Alabama didn't play like that today.
And you wonder, I'm sure they'll be able to get up for the game, but that's going to be must-see TV. I was a little skeptical. Oh baby.
Oh, good.
Corum.
Number 2.
Corum
Why
again.
is he still on the field?
Look at McCarthy's hitting himself like that. He's like, sorry, I gave you a hospital pass there, buddy.
Maybe they should ask the other players who they want.
Oh, Jesus.
He should have caught that. I'm sorry, you can't drop that.
Oh, he put helmet on ball. I don't know how you want him to catch that football. McCarthy's like saying, here you go, man. I want to murder you. I want to get you murdered. Oh, yikes. Not only does he want to get himself murdered by trying to prolong plays and not slide.
What is this goof going to say now? Not enough of him today, honestly.
What are they doing? The previous play is under review.
Are you kidding me?
For targeting. How is that targeting? He hits him in the freaking chest. He lowers his helmet. Stop with that bullshit.
The guy's 5'7". How is he supposed to tackle?
That's a clean
tackle. That's a freaking form tackle.
It's a great hit. What a freaking joke. The fact that they're even going to this is nonsense. It shows you how far the game is deviated away from what it's supposed to be.
That's a form tackle. He doesn't hit helmet to helmet. That's a form tackle right there. He's trying to wrap and everything.
Yeah, I was about to say, come on.
Booth initiated review. Give me a break.
I hope they don't get this kid out.
Probably Alabama guys up there in the booth.
No, stop.
Georgia's looking a little bit too tough. Let's see if we get some of them out of the game.
This kid's a freshman. Chaz Chambliss. I hope they don't. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, let's see this goof.
No targeting. Oh, hold on. What?
That's just a clean freaking tackle. What the hell is he talking about?
He used the crown of his helmet 15 yards from the previous spot of the ball, and he's been disqualified.
I'll tell you what.
He'll not be able to play until the second half of
that official is a shithead. And we don't want you doing any games. You can take your corset, your saggy ass boobs, and your balding head with those stupid glasses and a hat, and you could just go home.
Wow.
What a terrible official. What a horribly officiated game. Think about all the pass interference calls they let go in the first half.
What the we don't curse, but what the I'm sorry. What?
Terrible.
It's a clean tackle. It's absurd. It's absurd. I
Now,
don't understand.
Is that kid a starter?
No, he's technically listed as a backup, but I'm sure he plays on a rotation. I'm sure that kid plays rotationally. He's not listed as a starter, but I'm sure he plays rotationally.
So now does he not get to play next week?
He misses the first half.
That's a stupid rule.
He's Nolan Smith. He's Nolan Smith's backup.
Okay.
But I'm sure they rotate on long if they're out there for long time periods.
To sit a guy out for a half of the next game is just bad. That's a dumb rule.
It's the way the rule's always been written.
But you know what? It's
targeting. If you get ejected in the second half of a game, you can't play the first half of the next game. If you get ejected in the first half, you can play next game. Couldn't tell you the reasoning behind it, but that's ridiculous. And there's a blatant hold. That was a blatant hold by Edwards there off the edge for the touchdown.
Look at this guy.
pass.
Is he kidding me?
Your team is getting their asses whooped.
Dude, you got your ass
Your
blown out in the
team is
semifinal
getting
game.
their asses whooped. There should be zero celebration from Michigan. No celebration. Not even a high five, not hugging in the end zone. You should be like, okay, we scored a touchdown. He's like, yeah, man, you finally threw your first touchdown. Congratulations. Let's go. Dude, get your ass on the sidelines. Don't see anything. You should be walking away with your tail tucked in between your legs because of how poorly you played as a unit and how you just got absolutely spanked. You're down 34-10 and doing celebrations on the sidelines. Stop that. Stop that shit. Trust me, some players see that and just like, what the hell are we high-fiving and hugging players for?
Yeah, dude, you got rolled. And now they're going for 2. Okay.
Here's another one of those damn dumb freaking play. I don't get it. I don't get what
worked. It worked because there's 4.5 minutes to go and you're down by 30 points. That's why that play worked.
I don't get that. You're down by now 23 points, question mark? What was the point of going for the 2-point conversion? Makes it look like you got beat by less. I mean, that was an underthrown ball. I mean, he had pressure in face. It was an underthrown ball, but
yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Edwards held the piss out of him. I don't know what
the
hell
was 14 doing.
What? Good question. Your answer. If you find out the answer to that, give me a call and tell me.
I mean, here's the thing. That's like me covering a guy there. That's like me covering a guy. That's exactly what it looked like.
I'm looking at the 2 deep. I'm not seeing him anywhere. I'll have to do more research.
He was the safety.
I'm just saying, I'm not seeing him on the 2 deep for Georgia is all.
Ugh.
Christ.
Brutal.
Woeful at best. Oh, good gracious. Louis saying, man, as a Bama fan, who was raised by a father that's from Alabama and being raised in Georgia by a mother who has plenty of siblings that are University of Georgia fans, 2nd and 26 was awesome, but we got it. We got to do it again.
I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I just have a feeling that Georgia is going to beat Alabama this time. And I wouldn't have told you that before today, but I didn't like Alabama. What are they doing? I didn't like how Alabama played today against Cincinnati. They didn't have the same intensity that they had against Georgia. And they picked up a bunch of injuries. And that could be a great equalizer. It really can.
You know what I do real quick? I'm sorry, continue.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I put JT Daniels in and I start throwing the football.
Yeah, I want to run. I want to score.
If you're going to keep throwing the football up and you're going to continue to do that shit, we're going to throw the football up and we're going to freaking mercilessly beat the living shit out of you. We're not going to leave our starting quarterback in. We'll say, hey, JT Daniels, go ahead and throw the ball. We're going to go out there and run our offense the same exact way we have been. We're not.
Alabama has won the last 7 meetings.
Yep.
And they beat them in the 2018 championship game that Georgia should have won. That was the game where they swapped out.
Hurts got swapped out for Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's when Tua first came onto the scene.
That's right. That's right.
I'll tell you one thing.
I was hoping
that was a little bit of a horse. I guess not. Now Darnell Washington. I'm watching the tight end on Georgia. that physical talent. He's had so many holes in his ability to block for his size, and he still looks like the guy struggles blocking. I mean, he's been there in college football for 2 seasons, and he still struggles to block.
The big kid struggles blocking.
6'7" kid, tight end. The
That's
tight end struggles blocking.
that-
He always goes against smaller guys, and I just look at the form and his technique, and I'm just like, he's turning his shoulders, not hitting guys square on him. Like, Darnell Washington, you're 6'7", 260 pounds.
he's going
Block like
against
you're a
small.
mammoth of a man.
He's going against smaller guys too. That's inexcusable in my book.
He's always done that. His footwork has always been shitty. He takes a lot of false steps, and the guy still is struggling blocking. I just don't get it. Yeah, Louis also saying that was a clean hit for certain guys. And targeting, what a ridiculous call. What the hell's going on?
It's the wussification of America.
Tony Chu saying, LOL, we don't curse. With a crying face. We try not to. Oh, man. Finally, something good for Michigan. An onside kick is coming. Safety bit too hard. Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention. And what a film saying, nothing to celebrate, Michigan. You got smoked. I was about to say, I remember we had games where we got smoked one time, and there was a guy who was a total me guy. He was drafted, but he was a total me guy. He scored a touchdown. He was a wide receiver, and he's over there celebrating by himself. I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? We're getting our asses rolled like 40-something to 10, similar to this. And he's over there celebrating with an ear-to-ear smile. Most of us are going like, yeah, we just got our asses beat. No need to be smiling, high-fiving around on a bench, buddy. Read the room.
You see there's nobody on the Michigan side, right?
Yes, it's empty.
They all took the Arctic shuttle back to Ann Arbor.
Oh, man. And then Louis also saying here, it's going to be hard to beat Georgia twice, especially without Michi.
Yeah.
Michi.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's awful tough to beat a team more than once.
Look at how shitty that footwork is by Washington. Again, God damn it. I swear to God, the guy, even when he's...
There's a reason why he's out there at the end of games.
No, he's been out there all game. He's been out there all game. But there's a reason
some
why
other guys, some other of the starters have been resting. He's still out there.
Yeah. Pancake Man says hi. Pancake Man, Grumpy. I can go for some pancakes. Pancake action. Ruben G saying, "What's the score?" Right now,
34 to not nearly enough.
34-11 in favor of Georgia.
Nick Saban versus former assistants, 25-1.
Yeah,
all time 4-0 against Kirby Smart.
I was about to say, yeah, the only loss he had was against Jimbo Fisher this year.
It was this year.
Texas A&M.
I'm rooting for Georgia, though. I will say I'm going to root for Georgia.
Michael B saying, "All righty then. I'm guessing Michigan is losing." Yes, Michael B.
Yes,
you'll be right with that guess. Oh man.
And tomorrow we're going to be doing the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. We're going to be doing a live stream of the game, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we will. Yeah.
And then we're going to do a post game after that as well.
Yeah, probably. All cleared. Yep. Absolutely there, Michael B. Yep. 34-11.
A little end around action. Got a first down.
He was down. Yeah, absolutely. They're just going to run the clock out here.
Well, there's 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go.
Don't you be wishing
they
that?
They could play this game another 3 hours and Georgia would still kill them.
Oh, good gracious. I'm not sure it'd be that bad.
Georgia had 2 guys ejected today for questionable targeting calls, both of them.
The most recent targeting call was ridiculous. I mean, I could see the letter of the law. The first one technically was targeting. That second one was not targeting by not even if you were freaking trying to dream up of targeting and trying to manipulate the letter of the law. It's still, I don't think, could be there.
Why was that player wearing a his mouth guard on his ear?
Instead of wanting to hold it or put it in his mouth, he just put it around his ear. Some people
Here we go. Tomorrow's big games, Notre Dame against OSU. I'm predicting OSU to win that game. Then we're going to have Ohio State will beat Utah. Well, we talked about all those injuries, and Ole Miss and Baylor should be a good game.
I think Baylor, despite their rating, the quarterbacks have been, remember, the question mark. And Baylor honestly should have lost against Oklahoma State.
They should.
But I put Ole Miss as the favorite in that game. I've got Notre Dame. I'm coming away with the victory over Oklahoma State. Maybe I'll be honest with you. I'll be interested to see who's the new coach. It's Freeman, right? Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what he does his first game as head coach. Slippery, I tell you. He gets out of the tackle. He gets out of it, man. He's slippery.
3rd and 5. At least Michigan's out of timeouts. I can't believe they were actually calling timeouts.
I can't either. Jim, buddy, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
They really need to get a first down here. That's what they need. They need a first down here.
I was about to say. Well, here's the thing. Did you go for it on 4th down and just say this, Jim Harbaugh? Here you go, buddy. I mean, you're going ahead and burning all your timeouts. You're still throwing, trying to score. I'd go for it. I'd go for it. I'd try to score a touchdown and just say,
no, I'm not trying to score a touchdown, but I would go for it. You let it run down and go for it. Yeah, I'm not kicking a field goal. I'm going to go for it on 4th down.
Wow.
And it looks like they're going to have a shot to go for it on 4th down.
So, I would.
They're going to have to run another play with like 20 seconds to go.
Michael B saying here, I heard the West Coast or Western Canada stretch has been canceled for the Islanders. Yes, it has. It's been postponed. The 4 or 5 games have been postponed. Here comes a nice Gatorade bath to Kirby.
Well, let's see. They've been dumping mayonnaise on coaches. What is it? The orange? Maybe they'll dump orange juice on them.
Maybe it will be orange Gatorade or some sort of orange colored drink. I'm telling you, he's trying to make sure he's not going to get that poured on him. He's coming from a mile away. He's like, do not pour that shit on me.
And here's what you're saying. Here's what you're saying.
Pour that on me, please. No, is what he's saying. Don't do that.
He's talking to the officials. But here's the thing. You notice all the assistant coaches that gets close to the end, they start backing away from the head coach.
Yep. I don't think
it's so sticky.
Dude, you're not kidding. You've got to shower because you got post game interviews. You've got every which thing. And I'll let you know, some coaches don't shower with the players after the game. So
he called the timeout on 4th and 3. Okay, 14 seconds to go. Okay, what is he complaining about, dude? What are you complaining about now?
I don't know what he's talking about. Well, here's the thing. I don't mind a guy still coaching. I don't mind that. I don't know what he's talking about though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's dead serious. Yeah. He's not being fun. It's not happening. I guess maybe he's taking a different approach. Pancake Man says, TJ, grumpy old man. What's up, Pancake Man? What a film saying, seems like the NHL is going to have a shorten their season. It's not going to help the Islanders.
Well, remember, they have 2 weeks that they were using for the Olympics that now they can just fill those games right in there. It's amazing how that works.
How convenient. How convenient. How convenient, Grump.
Very interesting.
I think that's going to be more money in the NHL's pocket, right?
That's for certain.
The Olympics. Oh, yeah. They don't have to miss any games.
We care about the players' health. Sure you do.
There it is. They got the first down.
And there's your game. There's ball game.
That is the ball game.
They don't even need to run another play. That's it.
Yep, there it is. Georgia wins in a very convincing fashion, 34-11 over Michigan. They were dominant from the first play and first snap of the game until the very end. Unbelievable.
Dominant.
Yeah, I was about to say, unbelievable performance by Stetson Bennett. Unbelievable performance by the defense. Hutchinson looked underwhelming today for Michigan. You have to think that's going to negatively impact his draft stock. And when everybody talks about, hey, where should he be drafted, they will talk about his lack of performance and his ability to be invisible in this evening's game. I promise you that is going to be the biggest knock on Hutchinson this year in a draft class.
I think his biggest knock,
unbelievable numbers in the NFL Combine to try to correct this little bump on his stock.
Okay, I think the fact that he wears a mouth guard on his ear should drop his stock.
That should drop his draft stock too.
Yeah.
Oh, good gracious, Grump. Well, man, we are here at the end of the game. This is New Year's Eve. We got to cover Georgia against Michigan. We're going to be covering again. We're going to be going live on Sunday too for the General Sports Podcast, just talking about everything in the world of sports, covering all of the New Year's Day bowl games and talking all things NFL, all things NBA, all things NHL, everything sports related. Grump, what do you have to say, though, before we wrap things up today?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listened and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Well, thank you again, Grumpy Old Man, for being here as always. And thanks so much, everybody, who tuned in and listened to the podcast and live stream.
And I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Happy New Year. Stay safe. If you're drinking, get yourself a designated driver. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be going live again this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the action. We'll also be covering the national championship game live as well. When the NFL playoffs are around, we're going to be covering those games too. So to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. And thank you once more, Grumpy.
My pleasure.
We'll see you there, Louie.